Yeah, go off, Hellcat. Handle your business. Give me the coin type beat. You could maybe do like Mario Bros group hug. But yeah, if this is the like... One, this cannot carry a deck. Curse of Opulence is not a gimmick that is a deck unto itself, and so there would need to be more of an idea other than I cast Curse of Opulence targeting myself. After that, you have to figure out how does this at least give me the possibility to win the game. I'm not even going to put the onus of like you have to be sure you're going to win on a group hug deck, but you have to give yourself an avenue through which you can win the game, and you have to give yourself ways to stop other people from getting all these benefits. Hey, what's up, Sat? Thank you so much for the kind words, my friend. Okay, I think we're now successfully live on YouTube, so we can wait for John Klug. We have 3 minutes left on the Vamp clock, and then the first deck we're looking at today is Leines. For anybody that has not been to one of these streams before, the way it works is my supporters send me a primer, a deck list, and a power rating. We do not take a number-based power rating. I think those are generally wrong and bad. What I take instead is the silly, spooky, or scary rating as developed by my friend Danny Phantom EXE. It's a measure of how ominous your deck's turns are to somebody who knows Magic and is paying attention. And today, it's all scary decks, which for anybody on TikTok, if the screen's framing is weird, we are also live on Twitch and YouTube if you want to get the like nice, clean, full screen experience, but I'm also happy to have you on TikTok. Personal question from CloudCon, top 10 fingers ranked. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Easy. Stream explanations are infringing on the Vamp time. We'll have more. Personal question from Wolf Slays. Who's your favorite two-headed commander, boss? Do you mean like a commander that has two heads, or do you mean commander for two-headed giant? Because I broadly don't like two-headed giant. And so that does change a little bit. Revived Lich, thank you for the 3 months in a row at tier 1, my friend. Welcome back to the dog home. I appreciate you. Best two-headed giant. Oh, I don't know, because I refuse to play that format because I fucking hate that format. See, the thing about now, it's just gonna be why I hate two-headed giant, because I just won't do it, because the thing that I play commander for is the political interactions. That's what I love. The cards, take them or leave them. I don't care. This shit could be Pokemon, bro. What I love about commander is lying and being nefarious and trying to trick people. And two-headed giant says, what if we had commander but we removed all of those things? Because now it's just teams. So now you still have all of the yapping, but the yapping's not funny. It's just you yapping to your teammate trying to plan the world's most okay turn ever. Arya in the Wind is asking, now I'm interested in the commander with two heads. Just depends on your definitions, baby. That's going to be the end of the Vamp clock. DMC, thank you for the 11 months in a row at tier 1, my friend. Almost to our Sinister Goon anniversary. I got that right. Ghost, thank you for the Twitch follow, and Freeze, thank you for the drink water. We did have a Smasher Pass from Hellcat. He's dead now, but we will do this in his honor. Dale, thank you for the $5 super chat. Boss, I seek your expert advice. I'm trying to build an Ishin deck that politics the table into stabbing each other. Any suggestions? Let me put that in my subconscious. Whew. That's tough, but possible. We'll talk about this in the next Vamp section. King Kettle, thank you for the $2 super chat. I do, in fact, love kettle corn. Also, Astron, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse. Lightning Army of One, yeah, would be pretty fucking good for two-headed giant. And then, pull to order. Lapines is here. So again, every deck today is scary, people. That means we're going to try to do gags where possible. We may even find room to put in a goof or 57. However, there's going to be combos. There's probably going to be fast mana. Dare I say, I'm going to have to swallow my hatred and probably accept a few Ristic studies today. So be ready for that. And without further ado, let's open up Lapines' deck. The plan is simple. Ramp into big creatures, then turn your brain off and swing out. Occasionally, you get to do a Dark Depths Thespian stage combo. The only thing that can kill this deck is targeted commander removal and board wipes. God, I hate board wipes. We just have to open with scary on the only thing that can kill me is the most common response at every commander table north of the Mississippi. Motherfucker, what? The only thing that can kill me is air. The only thing that can kill me is breathing, sunlight, and the touch of another human. Who the fuck are you? Are you the alien from Signs, Lapines? What's happening? What is happening? Have you seen this movie? They're aliens that get killed by touching water, if you're unaware. And this kind of sounds like what's going on here. Now, board wipe, sure. Deck runs great if they let me. He must have died while carving it. Okay. I like the reference. I like the reference. Shifting Woodland. Okay, so we have ways to do the Dark Depths Thespian stage combo. I'm going to imagine that at least one of our game changers should be crop rotation if we're doing this. Patrick, say that again. That again. I do like the tags, but I hate what this is for. Hold on. Lapines, I don't even want to take this shot because it seems like you're already down. But I couldn't help but notice that there was a visual bug in Moxfield, and it looked like you only ran 31 lands. We're gonna turn the haunting background music on and turn it up a little, because boy, oh wait, no, it's just off in this. Because boy howdy am I fucking haunted. Boy howdy am I fucking haunted by the idea of somebody running quite possibly the single most shootable mono green commander. Lapines, I don't know if you know this. Selvala's played in CEDH. Your ability to make this deck scary is a little bit compromised by your inability to count high enough, but people have done it. I've put more than that in, and it just absolutely flops. I cannot wait to playtest this shit then. Alright. Note, in all caps, do not attempt to keep a hand with less than 3 lands. You will be fighting an uphill battle against your own top deck. I think the scary's coming from inside the deck, bro. Anytime I pick this shit up, I would just be looking at it like, do not fuck me again. Okay, Selly, do not. This can't be like last week. You embarrassed me in front of the other wizards. Alright, so we can untap Selvala. That's normal shit. we have just enough interaction to pass inspection. An actual win con. Okay, yeah, I mean, for sure. You make 1 million mana with Selvala, this gets there. God forbid the green player lacks ramp. What? There's more, though. There's more than this, right? We're not... did we straight up go, alright, well, maybe I'll cast 3 visits, or maybe I'll get 8 mana and get enough money for the rest of the game. There has to be a different section. Fuck this section. This is just goofy shit. Just say no to removal. Plan Z, sure. Resistance is futile. Dog. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. You can't trick me. I've died to this enchantment before, and it's not gonna be to Selvala. The boggles have gotten me. It's not gonna work here. Don't... All right, hold on. I know we normally wait before I do suggestions, but Lapines, I have to hit you with absolute cookery. What if instead of Rancor, that's a 1 mana 3/3, baby. There's no text box here. That's a 1 mana 3/3, you son of a bitch. I'm realizing that what's scary to my pod may be incredibly underpowered to everyone else. So Lapines, I do think it's possible for this deck to be scary. What I'm currently reading, the vibes I'm currently picking up from this deck is that rather than reliably do a medium scary thing, this deck is built to get up on the table, spread its cheeks, and then either drown the world in green player diarrhea or trip and drown itself. That's what the, like, 31 lands, no turn 1 ramp, 24, like, that's what the apex... Dog. Brother. He can't even fit in the haunted house. He can't even qualify for spooky. So now it's still Selvala, and Selvala is still very good, and you still have Eldrazi in here, and you have Surak and Goreclaw, and you gotta help me, Lapines. You gotta help me at some point. What? So we have good stuff in here, and we have a ton of damage that we can flop onto the board in here. I'm also going to assume that you have stuff that draws based on creature power. So I can already see in my mind's eye playtests of this deck where it is terrifying. Where you... Okay, my brain short-circuited because for a moment I thought that it was impossible for you to play Selvala turn 2, but it's not. So let's just Mind Palace. You Carpet of Flowers, you Wild Growth. You play Selvala turn 2. After that, you play Hulking Raptor with your lands. And then the turn after that, you float like 8 mana. And you play any of these gigantic dipshits on turn 4. Or like you play Galta and you dump the rest of your hand into play, and then the turn after that you play you play Last March of the Ents. That reads to me like your pod has some sort of no meanies clause, because me personally, I like to think I'm enlightened. You play Selvala in front of me turn 2, I'm going to look very biased against the elves. I'm going to look incredibly biased against the elves. And so at a table where removal is low, yes, this is absolutely terrifying because in a shocking twist, mana is good. The reason why it is funny is because you... Oh, this is... Hold on. What's his... This is you. If you don't know who Deontay Wilder is, he's a boxer who got a lot of acclaim because he has like a terrifying hook. He hits really fucking hard. He can just like explode people. And bro is standing on McDonald's straws. And this is your Selvala deck. We have all of this big, scary, ridiculous dog shit, and you can be hard stopped by a lightning bolt. I don't want to jump scare you, but if you haven't taken your heart medication, I'd take it now. Like, this happens to you? I'm out. I'm out for the day. I'm clocking out. I'm going on break. You could get Medicaid for this shit, dude. You could get fucking disability for like 2 years if somebody hits you with a lightning bolt. So that's what we're laughing at. And a lot of Selvala decks that peace and love to you are trying to win are built around the idea that Selvala's probably not making it through the first time. I want to have a lot of reliability to have Selvala stick around. For some reason, my pod never removes Selvala and only removes the other enablers. Are you sure your pod can read? Have you been playing Commander at the kindergarten again? Because we did talk about that. Listen, I'm happy to help you. But here's the thing. If we work on the deck, what has to be fixed is the full art Gigantosaurus. Maybe not him specifically, but this is like the archetypal thing that would need to be corrected for the deck to be better. If you're like, my pod is idiots, let's work on my touchdown dance, I'm super down to help you work on a touchdown dance right now. But the fact that you're just no pain in your chest, no embarrassment, no blush in your face, going, hell yeah, impervious great worm, we're in touchdown dance territory, brother. Dolmen Gate is crazy. Why do you have this? Who can beat you? You're playing the 1616 unkillable worm. What's dolmening you? Please, brother. Like Tamio's fine. Heroic safekeeping, fine. Lightning Greaves, yeah. These all totally reasonable. And there's other stuff we could add in here. Crazy. Quite frankly. Insane. When you already have this on a creature, and this could be another fucked up and big creature. Like, can you paint a picture of what you are typically, like, what are the problems you have to solve? How fast do you have to be able to kill a man for this to be an acceptable play pattern? What if I could double it though? This is insane. This is not. No, stop this. You don't need this. You could just play a guy with trample. I think like in Selvala, genuinely, this is let's talk about the world I want you to live in. If we're in touchdown dance territory, the world I want you to live in is for you to confidently play lurking predators in your deck. Tell me if this does not spark joy, and I will reassess the direction that I want to go in. But currently, the direction I want to go in is I want this to be a deck where I could be like, no problems, I'm putting this in. It's going to hit some crazy dog shit. Great. Then the new standard is anything that's not a creature, we want to make a fucking creature. We want to get to like 33 or more creatures for this to feel good at all. For context, I have a Niv Mizzet deck that runs this, and I think it's at like 35 to 40, and it is sometimes really good, and it is sometimes wispy fart, which it sounds like you're already okay with. And so if we're gonna do this, then the things we need to kill are like genuinely Akroma's Vivian Reed, even though women with side shaves were sent from heaven. I am the devil, and I am here to tempt you. So Akroma's Vivian, Unnatural Growth, this shit right here. Power Fist, Skullspore Nexus, Beanstalk can probably stay because it is just so good. Greater Good, I'm not confident that we will turn into a creature, but there is probably a better version of this. We're gonna kill this man with rocks. Thickest in the thicket is funny as hell. I hate you. I hate you. We're gonna kill this with hammers. Oh, we have this in the deck. Beautiful. Okay. My fault. I did not recognize your game. Rich get richer. So for lurking predators, hello Akon. For lurking predators type shit, we want Robo Granny. TCL, for anybody on TikTok asking, it doesn't cost money once a month. We do a free raffle on Twitch where you can get roasted without paying. Outside of that free raffle stream, it does. Wait, was that a... Did you lose a bet, dude? When have you ever seen 5 lands in your entire life? Is this your Exodia? Is this your personal Exodia? Is maybe one day... Who cares that I've tapped Selvala for 18 mana? Maybe one day, Temple of the False God will be a functional land. My pod has asked that I mention that I play in 2 pods, and that one of the 2 routinely blows up Selvala. That is good and correct, and the type of game I want you to be on is unfortunately this guy. It sucks. I feel bad. It doesn't make me happy. But in Selvala, what we want out of an opening hand, or what we want out of our draw possibilities, is we only really need like one of these. And we just want them to convert well. Hulking Raptors probably our very favorite. But most of what we want is, how do I play Selvala turn 2? If I play Selvala turn 2, something good will happen. Because if nothing else, she is mana positive. Because if you just have her, you use green for 2 green. Beautiful. And so what we should get is Llanowar Elves, Elvish Mystic, Birds of Paradise, yada yada yada, etc, etc. All of these things that are going to give us a chance to, like, all of your things that are, what if I could tap Selvala twice? We probably need to get you to have Selvala the first time. Arbor L2 could work. Delighted Halfling, yeah, there's a ton of these. And then in this section... Alright, so we have 24 children in front of me. There's going to be a culling. I'm not going to cull all of them, because the core of a Selvala deck has to be a ton of big fucked up creatures, but you got to tell me who your favorite children are. You got to tell me which of your kids you like the most. Yeah, I think the scape shift is literally... This person has... Lapines has given up on the idea of lands. We have not enough forest to cast our commander, and then we also have the Merit Lage combo. So there's some that I'm like, hell yeah, this is just good. Like Apex Altasaur, great. Apex Devastator, awesome. This will do something for you. We have a lot of stuff in here that looks like it is attempting to count to 1,000,000 rather than, what if I count to 10 once and counting to 10 one time made me win the game. Like, Ashia's Soul of the Wild is honestly felonious in a deck where you don't have a lot of lands, and it doesn't even seem like you play that many creatures, you just play really, really big ones. Like, this is, are you sure you were not visited by Reverse Flash? Did Reverse Lapines shuffle Ashia into your deck to make sure that you lost? Freeze, thank you for the 10-bit cheer, but we're not going to worry about removal yet. I'm going to go to the playtest and I'm going to see. All right. Free mulligan, done. No, not 3 lands. We have 3 lands. And we have the worst shit ever to spend them on. Perfect. I'm going to make you keep this. We do not Cavern of Souls. We're going to do Wild Growth, right? Oh no, this is the... Oh yeah, we have Wild Growth. So we Wild Growth. We Selvala. We Cavern of Souls. This becomes Marvin. We would have played the Elf Untapper. We play Nature's Chosen. We untap Selvala. We float 2 green. Use 1 to get to 3 green. Go down to 2 to untap Selvala. Oh, that just gets us back up to 3. And we play Carpet of Flowers and then we pass. Now we play Seedborn Muse. We get to untap everything on other people's turns. And we just float the mana for fucking kicks. Just to take game actions. And now we wait. Between the 18 million ways I have to Beyblade Selvala right now, and Carpet of Flowers, I have to be able to get to 10 mana. I have to be able to. I don't give a fuck. We play the fucking worm. We play the goddamn worm. Kolos, you think this is working? You think I play the world's most shootable elf and hold up a 2/2 as a blocker is an example of the deck working? Alright, now we have Scape Shift, which we barely want to do, except we could use it. Like, we Garuk and we minus and we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So this is obviously the turn that we are planning for in our head. Is people are going to let us keep Selvala. People are going to let us keep an impossibly big thing to tap for Selvala. And then we get infinite bacon and infinite games. And so as part of that 16 mana, let's see, we went down to 11 for Garuk. I mean, God, I can tap Selvala a bunch of times, so I have like near infinite mana. So with haste, I play these guys. Like So I get 32 mana just off of the free thing. So I go down to 27, 26, 19, 12, 7, spend 7. So I've spent 32. I get another 16. I draw 16 more cards. Everything has trample. I can tap Marvin now. I finale, and then everybody dies. So this is what we are hoping for, and this looks a lot more like a round of Army Men than a round of Magic the Gathering. This is super not scary. I think there's I don't think there's any, because scary is typically every game action I am taking is impactful and merits a response. This is very much spooky. Like, if you die to this, you are the white person in a horror movie. Because getting to this required us to take, I think, about 5 setup turns where we were obviously setting up for the most fucked up shit in the entire world. I'm confused about the Seedborn Muse. What are we doing on other turns? Floating mana just to feel something, Pizza. I believe that's what we're doing on other people's turns. Hey, what's up, Green? So now we have 3 lands. We have Nature's fucking Chosen again. God. Hell yeah, I love missing my mill. Hell yeah. So on 3, I play Selvala. On 4, I do this. And then make 2, untap her, go up to 3, 4. Right, she only makes 2 mana, and so I have to turn 1 mana into 2, turn 2 mana into 3, 4 mana. Yeah, I cannot activate the monster manual on the same turn, but now I can play another land. I put Kozilek into play, tap 10, untap up to like 20, and then I have Skullsport, and then I have this bullshit. So, Lapines, really what has to happen here is there's probably 2 decks. There's probably 2 decks hidden inside this one deck. And the 2 decks you have are a deck for the pod that knows how to play Magic, and then a deck for the WWE pod. Because for the WWE pod, this is almost perfect. Like, if you are allowed to do what I'm doing in these playtests, and they're like, chill as hell, brother, and then they only freak out when the Kozilek comes, those people are the civilians in a Godzilla movie, and they deserve to be crushed, alright? They get to point and scream, and we're just gonna fucking Eldrazi all over them. In the world where Selvala's gonna be shot, what we need to change on a like fundamental outlook level is you are being too greedy. We are looking at Selvala and going, well, what if I could tap her for 30 mana when Selvala is perfectly capable of winning games if you tap her for like 5 mana and play a scary creature. Like, you can take over the game just by playing Quilled Great Worm even. God. You could take over the game, probably not by playing Canopy Gargantuan, but like curving into Hulking Raptor and then playing anything. Apex Altasaur. Like, that will take over the game. It's just that you beat people to death over the course of like 3 turns rather than I stand here yelling like Goku for an hour, and then in one big turn, I kill everybody. That's fine for the WWE table, but at the table that blows Selvala up, this is just... they're just gonna shoot her. And so for that table, what we have to do is drop not all of the things that untap her for free, but drop the things where we're like, oh my god, but what if I could multiply it by 2? I swear most of you green players are like reclaiming trauma against Algebra 1. And so, like, haste is fine. This is insane. This is a trauma response. You are the one who swings. People, are you keeping this in your deck to hand to other people as a recommendation of tech? Because that's fine. But you don't get to... You don't get to be full art Gigantosaurus player and also afraid of combat. We must pick a lane. We must pick whether we are the big, strong, scary green player or if we are afraid of the combat step. I think Primal Rage is also not really a necessity if we have creatures in the deck that can give us... Alright, so stuff I want to kill with hammers is going to be... Ashaya, Seedborn Muse, Vigor, Canopy Gargantuan, Verdant Sun's Avatar. My lord. I will let you keep the worm as a show of faith. Dolmen Gate. Rancor, Power Fist, Primal Rage, Crawl Space, Vivian Reed, Chroma's Memorial. Greater Good and Garuk could probably become other things as well. Soul Ring is ridiculous. And then half of this can become like... Half of this can become just fucking... What say you to a second elf baddie, Lapines? Because this will not only pay into Selvala, but basically everything you're casting is... I mean, I understand why you have Greater Good in there, because this deck is built to transform one big creature into 20 creatures in hand, and then cast all of them. Monster Manual could become Eladamri, but I don't hate Eladamri, or I don't hate Monster Manual. So we want Gwenna, we want all of these one-drop creatures, and then let me think of other... I'm trying to think of just other creatures that would be useful to this plot. Like, genuinely... You can kill the green go burr last. Most of what we have to kill is everything that is currently making you afraid of the combat step should be stuff that gets Selvala out more reliably or ramps to your other stuff. Like, the core thing that is going to make a Selvala deck work is if Selvala is helpful but not completely necessary. If your deck is still able to... Oh, wait, hold on. Half of this shit becomes forests, first of all. You go to 35 lands or you get the fuck out of my office right now. So these things that use the card draw to capitalize on the, like, big shitheads you're playing is fine. But what we want is a world where on turn 2 I play Selvala. On turn 3, I untap lands and no Selvala, because a smart person shot Selvala. But on turn 3, I still play Hulking Raptor. And then on turn 4, I play Giant Ataphage. And then I take over the game anyway, because I've played Giant Ataphage quickly. And they don't have removal because they used it on Selvala. And then the turn after that, I play, like, not this fucking guy, like Galta Stampede Tyrant or Silverback Elder. Like, there's a million things we could curve out into with Selvala getting shot that still work. And so let me look at I'm just gonna look at big green shitheads, and this is gonna hurt me, but I'm gonna do it to you, or for you. I am also, if you want to be a Fraidy Cat, this is your Fraidy Cat card. You don't get Dolmen Gate. You don't get... What was that other thing? You don't get Crawl Space. You don't get anything that tries to gain you life. You get Defense of the Heart. This is your shit right here. Now I'm trying to limit tutors in this deck. But we're scary, right? So why are we... Can you walk me through why we're limiting tutors? If we want to be scary. When we have worldly tutor, by the way. Is it we want to... No, we don't have an obsession with casting all of our creatures. Alright, so if we're limiting tutors, then let's just go to the big green shithead department. Is creature, is green, mana value greater than or equal to 5, because that is where we're starting with Selvala. We'll go EDH rec rank. Fuck this guy. Wow, that's terrible. Kodama might be able to do something, and at minimum would do more somethings than Ashaya. General hatred for them in green, but that might be because I've been playing with the WWE pod too much. So this is another reason why I think there is a, like, split that should occur between the WWE pod and the non-WWE pod. Because in the pod that doesn't shoot Selvala, you can trust your top deck. You are a trust fund baby, and you will fail upwards. In the pod that plays good Magic, green has all of these creature tutors because they genuinely need them. Like Defense of the Heart, this is not a game changer or a reason. And so this is another sign of, like, these pods play such different Magic. I don't think the same deck is appropriate to have a, like, good overall experience in both of them. You can have the same commander and have a good overall experience in both of them. I'm not confident that you can run the exact same deck. I think we have Serac and Goreclaw already. Like O'Hara Kaslam. This guy would be fucking ridiculous. Gecko Gamer, thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs, my friend. If you're running Defense of the Heart, you might as well run all of the 2-card infinite combos. I don't know that I've heard a more ridiculous thing all week, Trinity. That's like saying if you're going outside, you might as well bring a gun so you can shoot the first person you see. Like, there's plenty of stuff that we can do that utilizes Defense of the Heart that doesn't win on the spot. So like O'Hara Kaslam, this is, in my mind, peak responsible Selvala. You can 100%, like, it with Selvala, you may be able to play this turn 3. If they kill Selvala, you're probably getting to it ahead of curve still, and it will flip to the rest of your creatures. It's not tutoring. If it gets removed, you still have a land, which you are in desperate need of. So, like, this is the type of stuff where it taps good for Selvala. It gives you a lot of advantage. We're looking for these, like, what can I play at 5 and 6 mana that will semi take over the game? Thunderfoot Baloth is another one. Now you have Tramplers. This is what you can kill the 2 mana enchantment for. Don't play this. You can't play Lumra because you will mill 4 cards and hit 0 lands. Hey, thank you, Chip. Vaultborn Tyrant is another good one. Even Vorinclex. Let's talk about how fucked up the Praetors are. Let's talk about how fucked up 5 mana is, by the way. I've previously gotten on my soapbox about how Wizards will let you win the game for casting an 8 mana spell. They will let a green player take over the game for a 5 mana spell that is not responded to. That's what I want you to, like, glue your eyes to in Selvala. You're thinking about 20, you just have to count to 5, Brother Bear. You just got to count to 5 mana, and then you're just counting victory laps. You play this guy, the turn after you play Selvala, boom, forests for the rest of your fucking life. You have the mana to flip him which will mill 10 and get you creatures on field, which if we fuck this deck up with creatures, you will probably hit, like, on average, 1 big stupid worm and 1 dumb tiny bird. And then some of our card draw can become like Vaultborn Tyrant. If you want to draw light, gain life, this is how you're going to do it. It'll draw you cards piecemeal. It has trample itself. If they board wipe you, you get it back. No, Jomi, we're going to respect the request to not tutor. If you are unwilling to put in lands, I at minimum request that you put in this motherfucker. This is how you know sell a board wipe. Every board wipe is now settle the wreckage to you. You could even play Overlord of the Hauntwoods. I don't think it's like the best thing ever for you, but you could even play it. Scion of Calamity is responsible. It's probably too responsible for you. They have the Skullspore Nexus. Annoyed Altasaur we probably don't need. We have the fucking full art Gigantosaurus. Old One Eye is even like, this is another, I'm trying to show you broccoli and trick you into eating it right now. This is another, everything's gonna have trample, so my hits are gonna get through. He's going to make another creature that will tap for Selvala. So in the WWE pod, if they blow up this guy, you still have the 5/5. If you want this guy back, you can discard 2 cards to get him again. Emergent Woodworm is another relatively fucked up card that will either give itself a big power. I'm looking at all these and realizing that there's a lot more fucked up shit in green than I realized. Yeah, man, there's a reason I hate on you guys. There's a reason I hate on you guys. They're just fucking flipping, they're just flipping cards off the top like it's blackjack in Vegas. And so what I want you to do is I'm going to, like, doctor's recommendation, I think you should split these decks. I think they can both be Selvala decks. I think they can give you the same feeling. I think the type of thing you're doing in the WWE pod can stay, and you can stay incredibly variable. You can put in any of these that, like, really make you laugh, but we don't have to be super reliable. In the pod that is shooting Selvala, we 100% have to commit to this, like, 5 to 10 1 mana ramp option package, and then after that you want to be really focused on what 5 and 6 mana permanents can I play that will just take over the game on their own, because that is where you can trick people into letting you keep Selvala. Because when you go to replay Selvala, they'll be like, oh, I mean, do we shoot Selvala or do we shoot fucking Vorinclex? Because this shit is heat for you. I know you can't read. I promise you, everything here is excellent. When somebody at the table reads this for you, they're going to freak out. And so these are the type of cards that I would be maneuvering my Selvala deck around at higher power, but still short of combo and still short of tutoring. We don't have to go into tutoring. We don't have to go into combo lines like the CEDH Selvala decks are doing. But we don't want it to be like, oh, how do I tap Selvala 8 times to, and listen, I understand wanting to go multiple rounds, but how do I tap Selvala 8 times to make infinite mana? And it's just, oh shit, I counted to 5 a little too early. Now you're dead. That is what green do. No. We're gonna put you, I don't think you're lost, but I think you're just straight vibing. You are just straight vibing right now. And this is where we're gonna end your deck. I hope you have enjoyed, or at least gotten some good suggestions. Danny, we did suggest Vault Porn Tyrant. Let me look at Cream of the Crop. I didn't check it out because it was... Oh yeah, this would be great. How do you feel about... Okay, so we don't like tutoring. What about just like a little bit of cheating? What about just like you pick up the deck and you just rearrange it a little bit? How do we feel about advanced scrying? Cheating is amazing. Wonderful. Then Cream of the Crop. Big Truck, thank you for the Prime sub, my friend. Welcome to the dog home. We're going to do the manual ad break, and then we are going to put 5 minutes on the Vamp clock, and then it's time for John Klug, if they are here on YouTube. I see you here. I will retroactively downgrade this deck to Spooky, but I do think you will have a good time, and thank you very much for your submission. I will be right back. And we're going to get some Vamp time. We don't get 10 minutes. We only get 5 in between decks. I'm going to refill my water. All right, we're back. Okay, 5 minutes on the Vamp clock. First rant is from Gecko Gamer. Why does white get so many stack speeds? I would assume it's because when they were splitting up the color pie way back when, they were like, okay, red, cool, ferocity. Green, big, bulky, Blue, they're going to be the guys who say no all the time. Black, they're going to be the ones who are coveting power, gaining power at any cost. White, what does white do? And then they looked at the nearest white person and went, ah, they're the entrenched power structure who makes all of the fuck-ass rules the rest of us have to follow. Yes, good. Ship it. But yeah, it's the rules color. White is about, like, law and order, and when they were cutting up the original color pie, they translated law and order into, we are the ones who get to make static rules about everything. Blue gets to say no. At low mana, they get to say no on a, like, piece by piece basis. They have some big mana options to say no to a bunch of shit, but white is the one who, even at low mana, they are the rat who makes all the rules. They get to make rules about how the game is played. Oh god, Eric. Re-ink, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Can we get an FMK? Sure. Melon's away. Boss, if I have a net decked list that I want to make my own, how much of it should I change before submitting the deck to you? Literally any amount, and I'm going to remove this from the context of submitting it to me for a roast. If you have a net deck list and you're like, I want this list to feel like mine, and this extends to my opinions on artwork as well, not even just commander deck building, change anything. It's yours. Change one card, change the land base, change the way you pilot it. You probably pilot that deck different from how the original designer intended it to be piloted. It's yours now. Don't worry, if anybody's like, oh, it's net decked, oh, it's not original. Those are like the most deeply insecure and insufferable people ever. Ever. I cannot stand them. What if I change one card, forget about it, and then change it back on accident? Then you go to art prison. Wall Snuggler, thank you for the 8 months in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. Boss, how do you feel about Poison as a win con? Poison as a win con is fine. The only context I don't like it in is Finn the Fangbearer Poison decks, where they are built to beat one person and then lose. I don't think that'll hold in court for artwork. Well, yes, of course. And that's why I said it connects to my opinions on artwork rather than encompasses all of my thoughts on them. There's a lot more nuance in artwork. That IP infringement is a real fucking thing. In the context I deal with it most frequently, it is with people on TikTok being little babies about, like, oh, this person made a video about the same idea I made a video about. I'm not talking about, for example, like asset ripping Pokemon to make a game. I don't know who would do that, but I'm not talking about things like that. I'm talking about, like, in the like court of public opinion, we often string people up for not being original, and a lot of times when I see that, it does not seem like, I don't know, I think very few things are truly original, and I think originality is a weird thing to be chasing. Oh, hell yeah, Bone Lord. Re-ink, thank you for the rant. Man, I've come across a few of these people recently, but holy shit, the people that turn their nose up at you for using something like EDH Rec to build a deck, fuck those people in particular. Yes, I will clown, much like many other people, I will clown the overuse of EDH Rec. Like, it shouldn't build, I think you will have more fun if it does not build the entirety of your deck. But the idea that using the knowledge of those that came before you to build something that pleases you is... Dog, do you exist in society? Have you... Huh? Do you use machines? Steam? And that's the end of the Vamp timer. So we're going to go to John K's deck roast on YouTube. Oh, what's your fuck, marry, kill, dog? I didn't see the... I said yes, and then you said fuck, marry, kill again. I need the characters. Boss, we still got a second. That's too goddamn... You're using it right now as I pause for re-ink. Ah, random magic cards. Gotcha. Yes. Alright, fuck, marry, kill. I can't get all three. I have to decide as I see them. What's up, Castleman? Otherworldly journey. A giant magical turtle. Okay. So here's the thing to consider. I'm probably not putting this in the F category. However, there is an exhibitionist angle here. There is an exhibitionist angle to be had. Like, if we lived in Discworld and you were like, yeah, I had relations with the turtle that carries us on its back, like, that's an immediate high five. That's an immediate high five. Fuck the dude on the hill and let the turtle watch. I'm gonna be so real with you. I'm more on the turtle than the dude here. Because I can't see anything about the dude. He might stink. I think we're gonna go middle of the road. The turtle is F. The turtle is F. That's Urza, then especially the turtle. I am shooting, well, hold on. I kind of want to lean on the, no. I've previously said that it's bullshit to claim that marriages are not consummated. The marriage has to be consummated. So for that reason, we're going to shoot the raccoon. We're going to kill the raccoon. Because the marriage would have to be consummated, and I'm not doing that to the poor sweet raccoon boy. I was set up. I was fucking set up. Please let there be an alt art. Why he looking at me like that? Why he looking at me like that? There is now one wolf inside me. Let's go to John Klug's deck. Should have married the raccoon. At least it passed the Harkness test. I'm gonna go with for the purposes of these FMKs, everything passes the Harkness test. Oh hell yeah! Thank you, Saber. I hope you have fun. I haven't seen Gilgamesh's commander yet, but I've seen Gilgamesh get resolved in a few draft situations, and it's always fucking insane. All right, moving on to John Klug's deck. Also scary. Gav, Guru of Spores, and his insane gambit to purposely combo on turn 6, to make infinite dudes, all with huge sticks, pass, full turn order goes by, get board wiped or win. This deck swings in power though, from do nothing draw lands to unstoppable death machine, and usually 2 target exile creatures grave effects kill me. I'd like to upscale while keeping the main loop of sack a creature for 2 mana and cause Gav to drink Starbucks today. Oh, no. Sack a creature for 2 mana, and because Gave drank Starbucks today, I have infinite creatures and mana and power. Okay. "40 lands like a gamer." Beautiful. Complete difference from what we just saw. Lost Alternative, thank you for the 5 gifted community subs, my friend. Welcome to Dog Heaven. So we have 40 lands. This is probably fine. We do want to bring this up in power, so let's see what's wrong with it. So Gave enters with 5 1/1 counters on. If you sack a creature, you can put a counter on something else. And for 1 and removing a creature, you can make a creature. So there's presumably some combo loop here if we can make this like mana positive. A cool baseline. Heritage Reclamation, Artifact Enchantment, draw a card. Okay. So this is just... Why is this cool, man? Why is this cool? We listed this as scary. I'm kind of reading grumpy here. Requisition Raid, Pest Infestation. Double commander abilities. And I'm presuming if we double the commander ability, we get infinite bacon, right? Eat figures for mana. Yeah, because if we had like... Would even hardened scales do it? Because if we had Gav, and we had a guy, we sack the guy to Astronaut's Altar. We use 1 of the mana to take a counter off, make a guy. We use the other mana. I think yes. As soon as we have make 2 mana off a guy and make 2 counters instead of one counter. I got green, baby. We're cultivating. That's so fucking fair of you. That's so outrageously fair of you. Eat fingers for mouths. Jesus Christ. What the hell is this guy doing here? I refuse to believe in this. He tried to slide in with all of the normal Avzan combo food. Is it like it's... Okay. Eat fingers for life. Then mouths for fingers. Eating our fingers, so we have some reanimation. We don't have a singular fucking thing worth reanimating. That's good. Oh shit, it's on target creature, right? Alright, so the entire deck is built around what if this ability went infinite. I think the... So then immediately what we have to talk about is where the fuck are the tutors? Right? If we're not playing around, then we shouldn't be playing around at all. I think the fact that this is I want to go infinite on turn 6, that is currently a derogatory designation. Because we have a couple different things we have to pull our tutors from, right? Like we don't... Does this go infinite with just 1 piece? Because I don't think just hardened scales goes infinite. I think it goes stupid, but I don't think it goes infinite. I think we require something to double the ability, and then something that we can use to make mana, or a thing like this persist creature that will replace some part of the loop that we would have used mana for. So like Devoted Druid, we can not get infinite activations. So yeah, we need multiple pieces. And right now we're just kind of like hoping and praying that we'll get there. First and foremost, I need to get this out of Architect so I can actually play test it. back to deck list, and now we take out the second Jahav. All right. So if we go to the playtester, we're trying to make up for having no tutors by having just like a critical mass of every different piece that can do the thing we need it to do, which I personally dislike because it's kind of like inviting your friends to the casino if one option on the slot machine was their balls exploding. I'm never a fan of, I'm trying to do this really, really powerful thing, but it's okay because I'm trying to do it slowly or I'm trying to do it badly. So my first recommendation, if we want this to be scary, is how can we make this loop very tight? How can we make this loop tighter? How can we make it more reliable? How can we make it happen more quickly? And so here, if we go, whatever, I'll play my tap land. Who cares? I will play this card that makes me think fondly of standard and draw a card. I will play like Ellis Il Core because this is an outlet. Because we not only have, and this is a I win on my turn outlet, which does matter for you. And then I'll like rot farm this back to hand. Turn 4. We have 4 mana, so I will drop a Good Fortune Unicorn. Turn 5. Enters with 6 counters instead. And now what tools are we missing? So we have a way to get more counters on a guy, which I don't even, does this help us? Because it puts more counters, which helps us make more creatures, but I don't think this actually, this feels like a distraction from the loop rather than something that we actually want to do from the loop. So we go this, let's say instead of the Good Fortune, the dumb horse who doesn't matter, we play Carmen's Cruel Sky Marcher on turn 6 instead. And this is game winning, right? Like or we might have to untap for this to be game winning. But if we untap with this, it goes, I take a counter off. I make a guy. Not actually a pest, but who cares? Take a counter off, make a guy. Pay a life, sack a guy, treasure, counter on Cruel Sky Marcher, I get a token back. I use the treasure to remove a counter from either Gav or from Carmen, probably Carmen for the sake of the loop. New pest, sack again, and I would actually be going net up on Carmen triggers and net up on life because I'm sacking both the treasure and the creature. And then we just win the game for infinite life drain. So we're absolutely doing combo, but right now we're trying to do combo badly. And I think that is the heart of my misunderstanding, is we're trying to do something very, very good, but we trained it wrong on purpose as a joke. And then we lack an ability to, like, we've given up the ability to protect ourselves. We've given up the ability to tutor. So John, is this are you used to formats where you don't have access to things like tutors, and so you don't know how to build a tutor package, or is there a emotional desire to have it be so highly variable? Both things I'm perfectly happy to make fun of, but I do need to know which way you're wrong. Because if we want this to function, strongly, you genuinely, we don't give a fuck about Hex. Like, we just straight up don't care about removing people's creatures. By the time I have 6 mana, I'm playing Gov and I'm winning the game for it. Yeah, I don't really. Okay, so if we don't know tutors, let's go for it. Worthless. Probably worthless. I hate doing this type of makeover, but I do know it to be necessary for what we're doing. I feed yet another Abzan player into the combo mill. The first Fade King, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome, or the Twitch sub for the 3rd month in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. Is at least a token doubler. Okay. So what I have done here is I've killed the quarter of your deck that makes you feel joy. Heritage Reclamation is removal though, and I do want to impress upon you that when you're in a combo deck, we want that removal to either be as efficient as possible, or we want it to just turn our combo on faster. Like the best thing we can do on a given turn is get another half of our combo piece, like Pest Infestation, for example. At the bracket this type of Gob deck should be playing at, if you could ever spend enough mana to make Pest Infestation be good, we would rather have cast Gov and won. And I think that is the attitude we want to have, is Gov is, this is not a guy who gets to come onto the board, brew his Starbucks, and then pop off. This is the dickhead executive who's walking in angry and wants his coffee ready for him. When you play Gov every game, the board should be set such that we can go from, I've played Gov, and now you all die. And so there's a lot of cards that are like woefully fair, like Mulch, Kodama's Reach, Cultivate. Like Mulch particularly, we're not doing a whole lot with the graveyard. Persist, we can do something, but the type of tutors you want are, God, there's 87,000. So let's pull up just the tutors that we need. There is Worldly Tutor. There is Green Sun's Zenith. There's Chord of Calling. There's Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, Demonic Tutor. There's Recruiter of the Guard in white. There is Idyllic Tutor. There's Enlightened Tutor. I think there's even more. I think that's most of. Oh yeah, Eladomri's Call, since half of the things that turn this on are going to be creature focused. There's also things that will put stuff into the graveyard. If you do hit any of these reanimation pieces, there's Entomb and there's Buried Alive. These are ways where you can pull stuff into your graveyard preemptively to then persist them back out. And so this is the type of stuff that we want to be focused on if we're going to be playing a combo deck. If you want to play a mid-range, I'm going to win the game quote unquote fairly, then I would probably recommend that you cut these combos. But right now we are I mean, right now we're showing up to our boxing gym with a gun and being like, no, it's fine, I'm just gonna pistol whip you with it. So this type of thing that you want to do is typically going to play in like bracket 4. You could maybe bring it down to bracket 3 if you wanted to limit the number of game changers that you have, but all of your game changers would still be tutors, and everything you should be doing is I can either keep this hand because it has my combo pieces in it, or I can keep this hand because it has tutors in it. I can go get my combo pieces. And then for interaction, there's stuff like Flawless Maneuver. If you Flawless Maneuver, but you spell it correctly. Oh yeah, Diabolic Intent would be pretty useful for you because it is, you sack a creature to go get the thing that you want, and then that can turn one of your saprolings or one of your like shitty creatures in here. There's Lively Dirge. This will both function as a thing that can tutor stuff into your graveyard and a thing that can pull the things you've tutored into your graveyard back out of your graveyard. There is Moon Blessed Cleric. This will put an enchantment on top of your library, which you can use if you're like, fuck it, let's go get Hardened Scales. Hardened Scales is the only thing I need to win this game at this point. And then the rest of it, if what we care about is board wipes, then we should be on like things like Flawless Maneuver that are board wide protection, or we should be on a lot of like targeted protection or Gov if we think we're going to win the game on the turn that we play him. And so this is genuinely going to be a like big step up in power. It's not going to be a big step up in ceiling, but what we're doing right now is we're trying to move the deck into a position where every game you get a hand where you can go get combo. Turn 1 I get combo piece, or like turn 1 I put combo piece on top of my deck. Turn 2, I get combo piece. Turn 3, I get combo piece. And let's pretend that you had lands and could play Magic instead of crying. Damn, this hand sucks. But we at least have Recruiter of the Guard. And now the hand kind of sucks less. Not really. Boy, does missing green hurt here. Boy, does not getting any green cards hurt here. Fuck it, we explode. Okay, so here we have Soul Ring, we have no green again. What the hell is going on with the lands here? That looks better. I think it's missing a lot of Hardened Scales effects, or at least a couple. See, Felistic Cat, I would actually say not using Game Changers is a mistake in a deck like this. This is a deck that is attempting to... It's not a bad combo deck. This looks like a combo deck where the person building it is just unaware of the typical ways Commander decks set up for combos. Like, this looks like a combo deck built by somebody who Like, this is a standard player's idea of a combo deck, because instead of having tutors, they had a lot of like redundancy in each of the categories, which is the intuitive thing to do. You go to build a combo deck and you're like, okay, I have my best combo piece. I can't put 4 in the deck, and so I'm gonna put the next closest thing. And then I put the next closest thing. And then I have a thing that doesn't fill the same role, but I'll put in something that is like good and provides value. That'll be great for me. And that's not totally incorrect. However, it typically ends up leaving like, it always leaves a bad taste in my mouth, because I just hate it when a deck isn't about its business. And this deck's business is Gave walks up, gets his mocha frappuccino, and then explodes. And so we should be tutoring, because the thing you're doing is just good. And so there's no reeling that back. What is the reanimator stuff for? What reanimates? The only things we'd be looking for here is I put Chatterfang in the bin. And then I either persist or dirge, or I will put in the good reanimate spells as well, or animate dead. I think we have victimize already. We do have victimize already. I mean, Omniscience combo is a standard deck that doesn't even play like this. They just draw a lot of cards to find the 2 pieces. I mean, Suds, that's the difference I'm trying to say, is 60 card combo decks typically run just card advantage and good stuff, and commander decks are typically like, well, I play a card that magically turns into the card that I need. Versus, I think like some, I think like Timeless, right? You can still use like Demonic Tutor if you have some fucked up combo, but the concentration is typically much, much higher, because in 60 card, you cannot give up the tempo of using your turn to cheat at magic. In Commander, you can give up that tempo. Do we want to go all the way to Fringe CEDH, or just more powerful than it was? Notably, I don't think the deck is any more powerful. That is a rage baity phrase. Do not get tricked. When I say that, the thing we are attempting to do is the exact same as it was when this deck walked in. We cut off a third of its body mass, and we replaced a third of its body mass with game changers. But the thing it is attempting to execute is the exact same, which is a turn 5, I play Gav, and I make enough tokens to win the game. The only difference is now we're probably going to be able to do it reliably, instead of just if we get very lucky. Jesus Christ, God hates you. So we free mull. We have animate dead, we have reanimate, we have victimize. This is truly awful, but we have a hardened scales piece. Okay, we evolving wilds for, I'll get a swamp. Command tower. I play my first combo piece. And now I'm kind of stuck in waiting mode again, because I don't have any more combo pieces. Yes, Twist. Oh, that's true. The Final Fantasy did give us a fucking frog Chatterfang that we can put in this deck as well. How many things could have this text line on there? Hina. So what does this little asshole do? Yeah, this is just another make an additional creature whenever you would make a creature, and so we'll turn on the combo lines a little bit quickly. But John, most of what I would recommend, you don't need a roast, you need a YouTube video CEDH tutorial. I would highly recommend that you look at CEDH deck lists for Gav. I would even recommend you might be able to pull something useful from EDH rec, but most of what you've done here is you've identified the main combo line, and we just don't have ways to protect it. We've done like some generic good interaction that does make us creatures, and so kind of pulls double duty. But what we need probably more of is, how do I just like spot blow something up if somebody else is trying to combo? So like we don't have swords to plowshares, which is again generic, but unfortunately the thing you've picked is terminally sauceless. Oh yeah, Force of Vigor is also a potential addition. But really, I think even here I'm getting too lost in the weeds. Let me just put up... Like, what I need you to internalize, John, is your entire deck is Gav and Chatterfang making out on top of Ashnod's altar. And then every once in a while, every now and again, a cute goth lady watches off to the side. That is the entire deck. And I think if we want to... if we want to bring this up, then if we want to bring this up while keeping the main loop, you are in luck. The main loop is incredibly fucking good, but what we have to rebuild it around is, if it's not one of these four pieces, it either has to do the exact same effect, it has to tutor for one of these pieces, or it has to shoot somebody else who's trying to do the same thing in the chest. It is true love, indeed. And that is how I would do it. So that is like complete overhaul, and everything that is not right on that game plan can go out the window. And the difference between the deck this will create for you and a CEDH deck is really just like the Moxen. So if you want this to be appropriate in bracket 3, you can cut some of the tutors, and then instead of some of the tutors, you can have like, you're gonna have more redundancy pieces anyway, but if you cut some of the tutors, you can have some more like classic card draw, like Sign in Blood. You could even do things like Stargaze to try to find your combo pieces. But we're trying to get to the closest reasonable replacement. And then you need to have a lot of good interaction. I'm gonna pull up, like, this is not the most efficient interaction ever, but you need to have creature removal. You need to have non-creature permanent removal as well. So this is stuff like Beast Within, Generous Gift. There's also Stroke of Midnight. These are things that can just blow up whatever good thing somebody else played to slow down their ability to combo. Assassin's Trophy in Golgari, but these are This is just fruits and veggies stuff that we can rip out of any CEDH list or EDH rec. So I'd highly recommend you go there for additional suggestions. I think you're lost. I think you know where you want to go, but I think you just had not been exposed. And I hope that we have opened your eyes, and I do hope you have enjoyed. But we are going to do the manual ad break and then move back to 5 minutes on the Vamp clock before we get Ice Phoenix's deck, if they are here. And John, leap openly into the void. There is no way to do what you want at low power, and that is not a bad thing. I urge you to accept that and inflict, like, you want to go full Last of Us on people in terms of how many spores you are creating. We'll be right back. Yeah, go steal a Chatterfang player's homework. Ice Phoenix is here. Perfect. Go use the bathroom. Okay, we're back. Before we start the Vamp clock, I will handle business first. For everybody on TikTok and Twitch and YouTube asking, how do we submit a deck? There are 3 ways. At the beginning of every month, you can get on the free roast raffle stream we do on Twitch. That is going to be Saturday, July 5th, this coming month. if you don't win that Twitch raffle, which you have to use Twitch channel points. So if you're not watching on Twitch and accruing those points and you do want to participate in the raffle, please pop over and do that. If you don't get into the free roast raffle, we sell commissions the first Sunday of every month. So July 6th is when those are going to go on sale. Those are going to go on sale on Ko-Fi for $69 a pop. We are going to be reducing how many we sell next month. We're only going to sell 32 this coming month. And then if you don't get into that either, because they do sell out in typically an hour or two, you can pay me $500 and I will drop what I am doing and roast your deck on the spot if I am live by myself. This cannot interrupt a joint stream, notably. But you can pay $694.20 to have Z and I roast your deck together. Fade King, we're going to do 3,000 channel points a ticket. All right. We've done the ad break and now 5 minutes on the vamping clock. I think there were some... Swamp Gorbelin, thank you for the Prime sub. We are smoking spores in here. And Aikano Kami, thank you for the Prime sub as well. Welcome the dog home. Question, is Spoils of Evil plus Spoils of War used for anything? I have never heard of those cards in my life, so I'm going to say probably not. Benjamin, they go live at noon Pacific. Melons, have you been enjoying Good Time Boys? Yes, quite a lot, because I do no work. Anybody who had asked me previously about whether or not I'd be doing a podcast, I would say absolutely not. There are better things I can spend my time on. That's still mostly true, except for this one. I have zero logistical load, which is wonderful. It is like once a week, I sit down and I yap with my friends for an hour. That's perfect for me. I don't want to be in charge. I don't want to have to do any of the work. I just want to yell into the void. So I've liked it a lot. If you don't know whatever the fuck we're talking about, I am part of a new podcast with Veggie Wagon and Joe Cherries called The Good Time Boys, which is hosted on Decked Out EDH. But these are some of the videos we talk about. Whatever. They never tell me what the topics are, by the way. I ask every week so that I can come up with bits, and they're like, no, fuck you. We're going to make you improv the whole thing. So I show up to the studio, and they tell me what we're talking about, and then I ramble. And they specifically prevent me from knowing what's happening. Terrence, thank you for the personal question. If you were forced to get rid of rice or pasta for medical reasons, which would be easier to never have again? Rice, no contest. I have rice way more often than I have pasta. Rice has like zero fucking sentimental value in my food pyramid. I love pasta. There are certain pasta dishes that are fucking delicious. One of my favorite foods as a child was just like extremely garlicky pasta. And so if I had to switch to like quinoa, couscous, potatoes, like if I just had to switch to another staple carb, it would be like, whatever. Like I'm never having, or I'm almost never having rice because I'm craving rice. I'm having rice because I need some sort of like starch in my diet. I could replace that starch and it would be a little bit of an adjustment period, but whatever. Pasta is like a comfort food. Yeah, Davy Jones, fuck flathead screws. Chat, can we get some fuck flathead screws in chat, please? Good time boys, more like horrendous takes boys. You folks have at least one bad take per episode. I think that's a tautology though, MLP, because we disagree with each other. Like, we have extreme disagreement at least once an episode. So that means, like, definitionally, no matter which side of anything you're on, one of us will give an extremely bad take every episode. Last episode you didn't? Then Joe cut that shit. We fight. Hey, Leaked intel from inside the podcast house. If you ever see an episode of Good Time Boys where I am not yelling at Veggie or Joe, they cut that in post. I have so much fun, but I am in there brawling. We have never had an episode where I am not fucking putting the goddamn fists up. You do seem to get ganged up on a lot. Yeah, Veggie and Joe are often wrong. And as sheeple, they operate in packs to try to defend themselves. Did I hear correctly about less Ko-Fi roasts in the upcoming month? Yes, White Bread. I think what's going to happen is I really like doing the deck roasts. I think customer satisfaction is high. I want to be able to make more other content, basically. All right, last personal question. If there's one magic card in history you could change the text box, which card would it be and what would you change it to say? It would be the first Planeswalker and I would delete it. Got him. Okay, next we have Ice Phoenix. This is a scary deck. Let's see what they've got for us. Oh boy, we have a PhD thesis here. I feel like I need a monocle for not Hitagetsu and Kairi. Okay, this is the closest thing. This is the closest thing I have to a monocle, Ice Phoenix. So I'm gonna have to just assume this is perfectly in character for the type of person you are. You tell me how right I am. If you tell me I'm wrong, I'll know you're a liar. Atop my dope-ass wizard's staff is a blender with a teeny tiny demon inside, and I wish to push the blend button over and over again as many times as I can. Do you want to draw cards? Do you want to cast really big spells for cheap? Do you want to deal a lot of damage? If you said yes, then blending, which is a word I am using to cleverly disguise my A+B combo deck, might be just for you. Blending does all of this and more. When you play this deck, the idea is to abuse the legend rule to get H and K's death trigger without having to send them back to the command zone. Play the commander as quickly as you can. With the ETB, put the cheatable spell second from the top. On your next turn, clone H and K for a free spell, a chunk of damage, and you can prep your next blend. I wanted to include arcane spells to feel different, so I figure a commander that casts half the equation for you is a good place to include them. Additional big splashy spells are welcome, but I want to avoid payoffs that drag out my turn, as everybody already hates me when I play this. This is my first trip up into higher power and casting cards that help me right now, instead of long-term value grinding. I've been working on the deck for a few months, and now that I know you play clones too, I am incredibly upset that you have been editorializing my primer with a variety of epithets instead of giving me the hot tech. Awesome. Let's look at what you got. Dale, thank you for the $2 super chat. I will consider making that available in the future. So this is pseudo combo. I don't think we're all the way to a tight deterministic combo like the Abzan deck we looked at. But Hitagetsu lets you brainstorm. So it lets you set up the top deck of your library. When they die, you exile the top card, somebody loses life. If it's an instant or sorcery, you cast it without paying its cost. Typically, people use this to chain extra turns, chain clone spells, and just keep this going over and over again. If we are using Arcane, I want to be so clear, Ice Phoenix. I'm not mad that you like Arcane, but if the justification is I just think they're neat. That is a Simpsons level gimmick instead of a scary level gimmick. And so I don't think these will be unplayable. I think these are going to be the premier culprits for things that make the deck feel non-cohesive, because we go from terrifying H&K blendy shit to why is this man casting Soulless Revival? Also, actually, Ice Phoenix, could I get pronouns, age, greatest fear to make sure I'm razzing you appropriately? See, 3 tragedies, 5 mana, 1 guy discards 3. Rude as fuck. I like that energy. I can't help but feel it's out of place depending on what else we're gonna flip here. So we have Decree of Pain. We have, okay, a good spell. Amazing. He, him, 27, invasive surgery. All right, then I'm gonna come in and snip those balls, brother. So some of this stuff I think can work. There is a bit of... Do you have a bracket in mind that we... Oh, my light ran out. Do we have a bracket in mind that we want to play this at? Because if we want to... Because typically Hitagetsu and Kairi, you're going to bracket 3, maybe you're even going to bracket 4, because you're doing some type of combo or combo adjacent behavior. But if we're going through the power of cloning my commander and abusing the legend rule, I get to cast a removal spell for free. We're doing a little bit too much. We're doing a little bit too much. I just hadn't plugged the light into the wall. All right, so let me look at what we're getting. We're getting removal. We're getting... Mill 1. We're getting draw a lot. I usually hang out above precon level. Okay, so we're trying to do better than precon, but not that much better. Right? We're trying to be like... We're trying to look down our nose at the precons, but not like crank our necks. Kitchen Ninja Suite of Appliances. All right, so these are all of our ways to clone things. We have clones. We want the clones to die as well. So it is important that we're not using the clones that break the legend rule. I think first things first, there's a number of these. I like Cypher a lot. I think this is a great deck for Stolen Identity. Is scary because putting any sorcery you want on top is very ominous. I would define that as spooky. It is very ominous, but the thing about scary is everything I'm doing is openly attempting to win the game. Spooky is I am going to set up a thing that if you let me do it after you've watched me set it up, could be quite bad for you. Speed settings. Sir. I know you did not just talk to me about speed settings and then show me Klarna's 4 installment payment program. This man would lose a race to quicksand. What the fuck is he doing here? Okay, so we gotta open your eyes. I feel like don't touch Bronze Walrus. No! No! Why? This can't be the sacred card. You said above precons? Precons have Solemn Simulacrum. Solemn Simulacrum is hosing this man. Okay. We have a bad wheel. Leave him alone. All right, we have a bad wheel. We have what in the? It's because it says basic land cycling on it. It's because it says basic. Ramping on turn 3 works for ramping up to a 5-mana spell. Hey, that's so true. That's so true. Hey, real. Hey, real. Hey, that's so real. I got no response to that. That's so real. You dumb motherfucker. You stupid ass. You stupid ass. Seance. True Skinny, it's speed settings, as in different speeds. We've got fucking Usain Bolt, and we've also got Calm Meander. Okay, we have Master of Dark Rites. I'm sure we'll have creatures to sack. Top deck controls. Does Parallel Thoughts work how we... I don't even think Parallel Thoughts work totally the way we want it to, unless we're like Parallel Thoughtsing just for ramp or something. Okay, so you do know what Evil's Face looks like. This is typically what Hitagetsu and Kairi decks want to be doing. You've activated my trap card. Is the trap you exploding? You've activated my trap card. Sacrifice a token and draw 2 cards. Don't fuck with me again. Okay. Well, yeah, the trap cards are on top of the deck. So when does the scary thing hit me? Big Fun Smoothies. I get to copy something. I get to cast something good. Summon the pack. Open a sealed booster pack. Reveal the cards. Put all creature cards revealed this way onto the battlefield under your control. I do want to say, not a broken card, right? What's fucked up about it is that this is probably the best card in your deck. Second only to Aminatu's Augury, because Aminatu's Augury is going to free cast Summon the Pack. So what is... I mean, I just want to see how this... I just want to see this playtest. I just have to... Okay, good. Boom. Blade of Selves. Watch out, mother... Streets of New York in this bitch. We about to murmur on these mystics. Oh, hell yeah, Saw in Half. A good card. Alright, we murmur on their mystics. Type shit. I know what you want to do. Unfortunately, I would like to win the game of Commander, so I'm gonna begin copying Murmuring Mystic. Okay, Hitagetsu and Kairi. Draw 3. Invasion of Vryn. Draw 3, then discard. Holy fuck. Holy fuck, brother. The best possible thing we can do. The best possible thing we can do is just keep the train going. This kind of seems like the Gyruda masturbation decks. So if we're putting 2 back on top. I'll put this, then Rite of Replication. For my next trick, I Saw in Half. But I don't think I can open with that. I think I have to open with the... Yeah, because counterpart's on top. So I can't open with the saw in half. A right of replication. On the ETB, I draw 3. Does it resolve ETB then sack, or is it like ETB, but it sacks so you to legend rule, so you resolve the death trigger before you even resolve the ETB? ETB then sack. Okay. And then Suds immediately says sack to E. I agree with Suds. I think, yeah, death trigger resolves first. Okay, great. So the cackling counterpart would come off the top as part of the death trigger. It would target Hitagetsu and Kairi again, which would introduce a new Hitagetsu and Kairi, which would insta-die, and so we would again get the sack trigger, which means I don't think we could have controlled this one. Oh, this is awful. Why is the main gimmick of this deck watching you fail a math test? So nothing happens here. And then the ETB will resolve, and then we get to put 2 down. And then I think a different... No, because the legend rule is going to keep making the death triggers happen on top of the ETB triggers. Yeah, and then we brick like a motherfucker. So what I think the... My only beef with this deck is we have a blender. But inside the blender, we are only placing a proprietary mixture of kale, cottage cheese, and my own shit. So I like what we want to do. Both triggers go on the stack at the same time, so you decide. You can stack them how you want. Okay, that does make it better, but at the end of the day, best case scenario, we have an extremely long, we have an extremely big stack that our friends are going to hopefully trust us to resolve. But the outlet of that big stack is mostly, I board wipe you guys. I keep the stack going even longer. I show you guys some cards that should really be part of a PowerPoint rather than part of a commander deck. I make John discard 3 cards. Right, we have all of this lead up, and then a lot of the payoff is, don't you guys also think 3 tragedies is really neat? And so that is what I would genuinely recommend that you correct, because I don't understand how this deck is meant to win other than people conceding to you once you set up the blender. Because I do think the blender works. But what I would want to see out of the blender... Okay. We're just looking this up. The fact that this is a CEDH post should tell you something, Ice Phoenix. Every time you play a free spell, you deal direct damage. That's true, and yet you also picked a bunch of broke bitch spells. Like Decree of Pain, at least, sure, even though you are blowing out your own creatures. Amanatu Augury, sure, but this is, I deal 8 to 1 guy. Okay. Death triggers are resolved before the ETB triggers. That's fine. I think really what I would like to convince you of is unironically better sauce. Because we have an engine that works, but right now the main payoff is genuinely I open a Final Fantasy pack and hope that Bahamut's in there. Because we can go Master of Dark Rites, but we're never going to have... Like, all of the creatures that we have in this deck are meant to be clones already. And so if we sacrifice Arami to cast Hitagetsu and Kairi sooner, we kind of non-bow a thing that we wanted to do later anyway. We can ramp. This is a fucking arcane signet. I will fucking vomit. This is an arcane signet. We get Hitagetsu and Kairi. Get 1, 2, 3. Then I'll say... Or well, Soulless Revival will go on next. Oh, not Grave Endeavor. I want this thing to be free cast, so I'm going to put this in and then the Soulless Revival on top of it. Then we go quasi-duplicate, right? Death trigger will happen first. We've done it! We've got them! We cast Summon the Pack! And then we get a ETB trigger. So we put 2 on top again. I mean, we could put Grave Endeavor, but like we don't... They aren't going to have great creatures. Phoenix, it feels like we're doing an awful lot of work to trap somebody else in a timeshare presentation. I like it when engines work. I like it a lot more when engines work to a more definitive or a like potentially cleaner end. Whereas this right now, oh sure, yeah. If somebody... That hurts my brain to think about. We're putting this on top because we think somebody's going to remove our commander after we've set up the top of our deck. That feels like multivariable calculus about 1 + 1. Open a mom back and hope we get Hitagetsu and Kairi. So I like your engine. I think a lot of the things that we currently have in as... A lot of the things we have in as payoffs for the engine look like baby's first paycheck from the 7-Eleven. And a lot of the stuff we have as hot techery, like a lot of this stuff, you've activated my trap card, looks a lot like comebacks we came up with in the shower to arguments that didn't happen. And so what I would really, really like to impress upon you is I would just love for us to look at some other instants and sorceries and see if we can find some other things that spark more joy. Because like Choice of Damnations, funny, potentially big game impact. Pull Under, garbage spell. Footsteps of the Goryu, pretty garbage spell, but maybe it can do something with a commander line. Soulless Revival, incredible dog shit. Goryo's Vengeance, same as Footsteps of the Goryu. Hirobi's Whisper, Ren Flesh, even Heed the Mist. Maybe Heed the Mist we can convert into like some type of crazy draw thing since we get to look at 2. Breach is a spell I do want to put in. Excellent. Good. I love that. Because what you have is like we're using an industrial grade blender to get shredded cheese when we could just buy shredded cheese from the grocery store. Like I think there's a different deck that might be able to utilize more of these arcane cards. But if you do a complicated Hitagetsu and Kairi line to resolve 3 tragedies, that just feels purely rude. You are you're demanding a ton of clock time to achieve something that is like, oh, you take 5 damage and your game sucks now. Do I win? Oh, I would never. That would be unfair. So instant and sorcery, parcel type matches are okay. We want mana value greater than or equal to. Let's just look at 6 and above. Let's look at really fucked up things. I now see how you found Absorb this for the deck. So like we don't have Rise of the Dark Realms, which is this type of reanimator spell, but is one that could, this will make a stack so complicated if you have clones in the graveyard, the table will just explode. But we could breach the multiverse, we could peer into the abyss. You could Rise of the Eldrazi. This is one of the like less offensive extra turn spells because you have no way to repeat this because we're exiling the spell after the fact. There's like Expropriate if you want people to just hate you. Season of Weaving is another way to potentially extend the Hitagetsu and Kairi thing and also draw us a ton of cards. Mind's Desire can be fucked up if you really love gambling. We have Stolen Identity. How do you feel about robbing? How do you feel about robbing people, Phoenix? We're Dimir. Our favorite activity should be going into somebody else's home and taking out the pictures of their family. Generally good. Excellent. There's Will of the Temur, which this will pull double duty as a copier and as a big card draw spell. This is just like a straight up useful thing that will convert to a meaningful amount of damage. God, do I wish we had better sauce than... Oh, we could be subjugating the hobbits. Grand Intelligence's Plan is also usable. This lets you draw 3 cards, and this is your version of like, hey, do you want to be kicked in the knees for the rest of this game, or do you want to let me keep my chain going? Worst? Oh no. Right, this is the one I was thinking of. We're going to go into a sweet and soft reading of a card that I feel very badly about recommending that anybody include. It's Head Games. For 5 mana, target opponent puts the cards from his or her or their hand on top of their library. Search that player's library for that many cards. The player puts those cards into their hand and then shuffles their library. How are we feeling about pointing at Jeremy and saying, you actually have 4 forests in hand. How we feeling? How we feeling? All lands, or depending on the game we've had, or like depending on the game they've had, be like, here are your 4 most expensive permanents when you're on 4 lands and no ramp. There's also... there's shit like Arcane Endeavor. This doesn't have the arcane mechanic, but hold on, it says arcane in it, and check it out, this one's playable. This lets you roll some dice too, so you can feel like you're playing a different board game inside Magic. And then you get to draw a ton of cards, and then you might get to free cast. Like, you don't have to roll very high to free cast Cackling Counterpart. Rush of Tentacles is whatever. If your opponents, if you have a green player in your pot, Hunted by the Family is actually pretty tremendous. You tell those 4 creatures, hey, either they're bad now or I also have them. This is the way you deal a bunch of direct damage with Hitagetsu and Kairi. It makes you blockers so that you are not disassembled with claw hammers for the things you are doing with Hitagetsu and Kairi. Draw 7s, whatever. There's not an incredible amount of sauce there. We have Cruel Entertainment. This would be really dumb. Don't do this. I'm now looking at this card lovingly to build a totally different deck that I'm going to put this in, because Epic totally fucks everything you're doing. But it does deal 10. It does deal 10, and you do get to rob people, which I love. But officially, do not perform that trick. Good lord, these cards are not good. This is honestly an extremely funny hate piece if you ever really want to stick it to somebody. I mean, I think here's a boundary we have to cross. The deterministic correct thing to do, if we're trying to make Hitagetsu and Kairi function well, is chain extra turns, because that just becomes like pseudo infinite, we win the game. It sounds like we don't want to do that, because if we're living right above precon level, that is frankly unacceptable. I think there's some things like Rise of the Eldrazi where that one's okay because we cannot chain it. But right, like Sway of the Stars, we don't want to do that. I think the things but I think there is some things we want to do, like potentially bribery. Because one thing I'm also noticing is we have the Hitagetsu and Kairi blender. We don't really have a way for the Hitagetsu and Kairi blender to convert into a deterministic amount of damage, and we have nothing to say about anybody else trying to eat us with a dinosaur. And so I would recommend that some of these become theft. We could do more things that do things like mnemonic deluge. This is not mnemonic deluge because this doesn't hit our own graveyard. But even doing things like Plague Wind, this should be good, right? This should be good. From a mechanical perspective, it costs a lot of mana. It will convert for good damage. We don't have to pay that mana, so we don't care. It's a one-sided board wipe, which is exactly what we need. But from a vibes angle, this is locking people in the seminar room to try to get them to buy a timeshare. This is like, we don't achieve a win, we slow down the game, and we prevent other people from taking game actions, and we do it all in service of, well, if you wait and you let me continue to take my game actions, eventually you will die. And until I do that, I'm going to hold you down and drool on your face until you beg for mercy. And those are the vibes I want to avoid. I don't think like we have to have none of these, but I don't think this should be the crux of what we want to be doing. Would swarm intelligence be good? This would be very Christmas Land. It's kind of like... rather than swarm intelligence, I would rather have something that we play before Hitagetsu and Kairi to turn our instants and sorceries into board state. So like, this is the type of thing I would play. If we wanted to have more like boots on the ground ways to win the game, I would rather do things that say, because I cast this big expensive thing, I now get a creature that I can use to beat you to death. Yeah, like Shark Typhoon. Literal Blender. I scoffed at Murmuring Mystic because it makes 1/1s. There's a notable difference between, in a world where my plan, my grand master plan, is I will cheat out a spell that costs 9 mana. I wonder how I should benefit from this 9 mana spell. I wonder if I should get a 1/1 or a 9/9. I'll have to consult with others for this. I'll need some type of expert opinion on whether I'm better served. A 1/1, it does have flying. Or a 9/9 that also has flying. How can I... How can I solve this puzzle? Damn. You can Little Bean with 1/1s. You can't Little Bean as soon as you show up with Hitagetsu and Kairi. That is Ice Phoenix accurately pegging the power level of their commander. This is a scary fucking thing. This is a scary fucking thing we're doing. We are unable to Little Bean the moment that we put this man in the command zone. I tried to avoid permanents that were expensive. I figured once I had my guy out, I would need to spend resources doing my loop. That is correct. However, because we're not going to high power, your loop does not currently complete. And so Shark Typhoon also has problems. Shark Typhoon's biggest problem is, oh hey, we can never play this before Hitagetsu and Kairi. We would have to like take a turn off of being like, okay, I got Hitagetsu and Kairi, but I bricked, and so now I'm gonna play Shark Typhoon to try to capitalize. Probably the better thing is like Alondra, because this can be played reasonably before Hitagetsu and Kairi. It will make us a Drake like basically every time we do the loop, and then if we get a really big loop, now we're gonna get this big board wide buff, and that will convert into like big damage. See, I also don't like Talrand because I don't think we're casting really that many spells. I think we're casting a couple spells. The Storm players are scoffing at us. The Storm players are not even popping out their monocle. Their eyebrows are not even raised. Would God Eternal, Kefnet, or Oher Pakpatik work to make big sales go burr harder? I am not convinced. It would make them go burr harder, but many things make them go burr harder. The difficulty is that we are trying to use an extremely powerful engine to execute some extremely bad spells. We have like a semi-truck towing one of those like Barbie Jeeps that little 4-year-olds ride around in. Live for free cast, die for free cast. See, that's funny. I like that. I think, like, so most of this deck is fine. It's just really that we have this big... We take a while to get there. If we're at pre-con or roughly pre-con levels, that's probably socially acceptable because it's gonna give the other players like time to beat us to death. This is 4 turns where everybody should be going, oh, it's ice, melt that motherfucker. And now we get to Hitagetsu and Kairi. We get all this shit, and let's just have like... Either of these really? We'll do the trap card thing, right? And let's presume that somebody goes, oh fuck. Activate the trap card. We Aminatu's Augury. One person takes 8. We get Hitagetsu and Kairi back. This is perfect world. We put land onto the field. We cast Shuffling. We cast Shuffling Borders. Yeah, I changed my island into a forest. So Hitagetsu and Kairi back. Now we can go Parallel Thoughts, which... So Parallel Thoughts, we can put 7 clones under this pile, and then we're always guaranteed to draw a clone. But then that kind of fucks up our desire to chain into clone. So but anyway, the stuff we have to free cast is we're either going to get pull under or we're going to get brainstorm. So we have done Hitagetsu and Kairi. We've taken our time to make the decision about the first Hitagetsu and Kairi stack. It worked, and I'm going to be clear, the most perfect way it could have worked. It worked the most perfect way it could have worked. And we're set up to potentially brainstorm or potentially make something get -5, -5. And so we do this, we Parallel Thoughts. All 7 things that... Yeah, all 7 things that are creature clones are now removed. Who cares what they are? If we see them in the rest of this playtest, we'll just pretend that they're gone. But we skip our turn for that. We got some other stuff from Afterlife for the loam, but it's probably like, I don't know, a mana dork or nothing. In fact, Viscera Seer is actually deeper in this deck. And then we get Soul Ring out. A Brainstorm. Hell yeah, summon the pack. Hell yeah. And then I play Viscera Seer and I sack this man and I summon the pack. And now we are happy. And so most of what I want is I want the rest of the deck to match the energy of Summon the Pack, because the rest of the deck is giving me massive plutonium paperweight vibes. We have so much potential, but perhaps because of where our play group is currently at, we're not able to use it to really like combo Johnny off. Like, quite frankly, if we look at all the ramp we have on board, most of the things you are cheating would lose to Dimir All Mana Rocks. I'm not sure who the commander would be for that deck, and I frankly don't think it matters who the commander is, but if I am just rocking like, I am a Dimir commander who's running every 2-mana rock in the game, and then spells that cost 8, that motherfucker cooks you. That motherfucker cooks you instantly. Enter the Infinite could be a really good way to do something. Yes, it would be a very good way to lose the game. It would bring a deterministic end to the situation. Yeah, it's like Emmett Selk or something. And so stuff like Alondra can help. Stuff like Metallurgic Summoning, I think, would also be helpful. But right now we have a... Hitagetsu and Kyrie are not actually playable in CEDH, so I'm not going to call this CEDH, but I'm going to call this like... We have an engine that is typically utilized at bracket 4 to power the Barbie Mobile. And if that is pleasurable for you, peace and love to you. Ice Phoenix's playgroup, blink twice if you need the police. But I'm typically, I think it's fine the other way around. I think it's fine if we have like, I'm trying to use weak stuff to get to this powerful thing. But once we start doing the plutonium paperweight type strategies, it starts to feel... It starts to feel self-important, even though I know you're not doing it this way. And the cards are probably like that because you went, oh, I don't want to be annoying. Oh, hell yeah. This is infinitely better than Parallel Thoughts. But if we have something that converts all of these, like... Because we can still play stupid spells. We can nerf the payoff if we're at least getting some type of board state out of it. Because if we're playing in, like, bracket 2, bracket 3, most people are winning via board state. And so if we want to have the free cast trigger be nerfed and we don't want to play the, like, really mean instants and sorceries, I think we should at least have those instants and sorceries convert to a meaningful on-board payoff, and then Decree of Pain can just become in Garuk's Wake, and then you murder people with all of the weird little spine crabs that you summoned. And then I think it runs a lot smoother. Because this could even feel quite good if we're lucky. If our grandpa hands us the Millennium Puzzle and we solve it every time we sit down to play this commander deck, then it looks chill as hell. If we can chain together enough of these high mana spells to deal like... You probably have to deal like 70 to 80 damage in the game. Out of 257, we can get there. We can get there out of 257. But God, if we brick, does the whole thing just grinds to a crazy halt. And I think translating into creatures would help it grind into a crazy halt a little bit less. Playing some like curve out card draw cards could also be downright reasonable. Limduel's Vault would definitely help, but then we cross the boundary into tutors. And once a deck like this is crossing the boundary into tutors, at that point, I would think we should just go for like full combo stuff. And we're obviously not going for combo stuff because we want to play the spells that make us smile and not the spells that make us win the game instantly. It's a meaningful difference. But Ice Phoenix, I'm putting you in baby jail. And I think this is where we're going to close it. I applaud you for creating this token, for creating this clone engine. I think the blender element of this deck works well. I disagree intensely with all of the ingredients in your smoothies, and I beg of you to convert them, either convert them into creatures, or just go for a deterministic game win instead. And there's a ton of things that can support that. You can either go the tutor route for the high power, or we can have just like good card draw things like stock up or memory deluge to help us get things into hand to set up the big turns. And I think that would make the deck roll a lot smoother. But thank you very much for the submission. We're going to move into the manual ad break, and then it's Exotic Shows deck, which will be the last one of today, I believe. Christmas Goblin, you are correct. I have zero respect for kobolds from back in the day. I'm putting the roast command in the stream title now. I do need to have just like a button that I can press for it. Hey, what's up, Shrinky Dink? Welcome to the stream, my friend. I'm going to go use the bathroom, and then we're going to put 5 minutes on the Vamp clock, and then it's time for Exotic Show. Exotic, don't worry about it. The decks we've looked at definitely were not scary either, so I think you will fit in perfectly. All right, we are now back. We're going to put 5 minutes on the vamping clock, and then it's time. Lord Xavier, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Hey, boss, what about a recording of you talking about the roast you can press on your soundboard? Maybe do the foghorn voice. I think it's better to have the written command and just have the written command in the title, because if we do, even if we do a voice clip, what I don't want to do is stop the stream over and over and over. Anyway, 5 minutes now on the Vamp clock. Ran from R Gibbons 131. How tired of you are people? How tired? How tired you are of people telling you to play Clair Obscure and why you aren't going to play it / are going to play it anyways. I'm not tired of this, and I think any streamer that says they're tired of this is interaction baiting. Like, genuinely, the only way I can tell what you guys want to see is via your commentary. And also, any streamer that's like, oh, I'm only playing the stuff that makes me happy, and that's their full answer to it, so of course I'm going to play it anyway, not going to play it, are not saying the full picture, because at the end of the day, it's a fucking game, so it's going to be fun. Like, Clair Obscure would be a good time. However, its position in the priority list changes based on how many people want me to play it. Big scary Twitch secret. Its priority changes depending on how popular I think those streams would be. Right? If I thought like 1,000 people were going to watch me play Clair Obscure, which would be like a 4 to 5x increase on my current audience, we're playing the game. So I'm never tired of people telling me, oh, you got to check out this game. Oh, you got to check out this thing. I might be tired in a given day. I might be in a grumpy mood in a given day, and I apologize if I ever take that out on any of you fine people. But realistically, tell me. That's how I know. Like, people, the basis of my content is replying to TikTok comments. That's my whole shtick. That's how the Commander roast started. That's even how the deck roasting became a thing, was because people commented about it. So I have an endless patience for people talking in Twitch chat or replying on my YouTube comments about like, we want you to do this. That is good information that I am actioning. Like, we played Darkest Dungeon because people asked me to play it and then voted for it. We're gonna play XCOM because people asked for it and then paid me to do it. So yeah, there's zero tiredness. Open question to the doghouse. When I was first learning about Mathering the Gadget, my friend told me Blue's identity is fun is a zero-sum game. If no one else is having fun, the blue player is mathematically having 100% of the fun. I know he was lying, but I'm building a deck to lean into that without going above bracket 3. What I'm looking for is a WinCon and Azorius that still suits the description. You have done what we in the biz call a paradox. See, the thing about... I'm not even going to do the voice. The thing about trying to suck up and control all of the fun in a game is that is appropriate when everyone's trying to do bullshit. That becomes inappropriate when we're just trying to hang out and have a good time. Like, think of it the same way you would in Smash Bros. It's appropriate to be sweaty when your friend challenges you to 1v1 Fox, no items, final destination. It's less appropriate to be sweaty when you're doing like a 4-person free-for-all with items on. Everyone's just trying to vibe, man. And so if you try to do a Azorius deck that's I have all the fun and you have none of the fun, that actually becomes more appropriate the more powerful the deck is. If you try to do it at bracket 2, all of the kids at the beach are like, why are you kicking over my fucking sandcastles, man? You said this was a beach episode. Versus bracket 4, which is broadly referred to as the Sandcastle Eliminator. And so I would recommend, if you want to do that, you start at bracket 3 and above. And there's a ton of shit you can do in bracket 3 and above that fits that bill. But if you try to do it in bracket 2, you are bullying children. Like, high power is fun. I think that's the thing a lot of people need to internalize. Right, but even as a meme, like, that's the thing, is as a meme build, it's appropriate at high power. We also have a random smash or pass from Bowen Lord, and then Rant from Elec Man about the lack of true 3-color vehicles. We will just see when Edge of Eternities comes out, man. I don't give a fuck. I hate cars. I do not like driving. Fade King will hold this personal question and any others for the end of stream vamping. We're going to do the random smasher pass and then exotic shows deck. Shapeshifter, potential. Potential. I'm going to show it a picture of 7-foot tall Nissa, and then I'm hitting. Okay, let's go to exotic show. Which exotic did you... I saw you post a deck list. Is this the new deck list? Re-Ink Designs, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. The world is my soup, and I was born with a fork. Spoken like a true green player. I'm not remotely interested in pub stomping or even playing this more than once in a while, so maybe going to 4 is the better play. I think it is just because if we work logically... Like, I don't think you're a bad guy. I think that we... Or girl, or bad person. I think the Magic the Gathering world is full of memes that are very funny sentences and very bad deck experiences. And anytime I see one, I react very strongly and immediately with this. Because I want to eliminate those decks. I want the decks to be funny sentences and funny play experiences. And I think if we examine the logical conclusion of the deck needing to be, I have all the fun and you have none of it, it self-selects out of, let's do this at bracket 2, which is sort of like we all agree to have to play bad Magic for the sake of everybody having fun. An example of this deck, of what you're talking about that I actually have seen, is, I think it even made a YouTube video. It was a Heliod deck that wanted to do like, there was some Disciple of Kalis Nin combo where you could phase out everybody else's permanence for the entire game. This kind of seems like the thing you were talking about. And I'm up for that deck if we're playing like high 3, low 4. Like even their lands. Yeah, like that's the type of thing. Like that's a totally appropriate thing. And it can be totally funny if the pre-game conversation is like, yeah, we're doing rude shit to each other. And we're totally preventing each other from playing the game. Alright, let me go find Exotic Show's deck. I think it went into like roast scheduling. Yes, you did. Okay. Today we are looking at a slow, easily disruptible aggro strategy. The goal is to play and sacrifice Homura into a busy board state, utilizing the banner and pump effects to shut enemies down. The only way the deck wins is with a big bag of hammers. I'm looking for improvements, weird synergy creatures, and unsuspecting bombs. Rip my deck apart. The goblins are known for their durability. What a beautiful palette cleanser. After a long day of many decks that were attempting to reach high, despite being 4 foot nothing, we finally have a deck that accepts its place in the dirt. I am familiar with Homura. I use him a lot in my Henzi deck. I am going to murder every goblin with hammers so that you can use some unique and funny creatures. Let's see what you have right now. Demon. Demon. This was my one chance to have a nice day. And you're showing me Ragavan. Plague me. Iron Mirror as well. Okay. Yeah, ramp. Yeah. All right. Okay, so a shitload of ramp is totally appropriate. I can see we're doing the extra planar lens bit. Power matters. Damage equal to... Okay, so mana turns into power. Mana turns into damage equal to power. Power turns into more creatures. I'm shooting this man. Turns into a big boar. I like this. Sacrifice. So this is how we're turning Homura into the banner one time. Okay. I have some ideas about this, but I don't think this is strictly wrong. I love Heli Interruption. Yeah, sure. Sure. This would make me smile if I ever beat somebody with this. This is embarrassing. Tokens. Ugh, no. No, fuck this. Fuck all this. I'll let you keep Loyal Apprentice. I'll also let you keep Hanwar Garrison. Krenko and Goblin Instigator and Siege Gang Lieutenant can go fuck themselves, though. Then we have a Tutor. And then we have a damage tripler, something to sacrifice, a shitload of lands. Best cards. Agree. Somewhat insane. Draw. We gotta get the red player card draw ambulance again. This always happens. As we go card draw section. Show me the card. Negative card selection. And then it's just 18 copies of Faithless Looting. Alright, so... Damn, also not card positive. So what do we have that goes positive? We have Skull Clamp. Connecting the dots eventually. If I've played out my hand. Unexpected windfall, big score. Okay, so card selection that gets me treasures, I'm chill with. Wheeling myself, I'm chill with. This is no longer 2005. The red players do have tools. Now, are those tools a colorless land? Yes, shut up about it. So you're going to put in War Room. You're going to put in Endless Atlas. Come on. Endless Atlas. You are going to put in Count on Luck because you are mono red and this will impulse draw you. You are going to put in Wild Wasteland because this will impulse draw you. It's out of my face. Red but fair. Red's already fair. We have, ooh, big hit. We have our goat Clive. We will hopefully have some degree of devotion to red by the time we play this man. Inti is another card selector. I'm not huge on Inti. Although he is good for aggro in general. Clive fucks super hard. Classic card draw engine, the Buster Sword, been around for years at this point. Every single aggro deck wants to play it. Every single card draw deck wishes they were it. So there's Buster Sword, there is Infiltration Lens. We have Professional Facebreaker. You, I think, because Homura costs so much goddamn money, you would even accept Sword of the Animist. Or if we don't like that Sword of the Animist is not a creature by itself, you would even accept the Bitterthorn. But we have to count to 6 before life even begins. So what I want you to consider is more stuff like the Rapacious one. Like if we make, like, great, low to the ground, token generator, fucking handled. And we go turn 2 Goblin Instigator. We wait in a long time until we see Homura. And until we see Homura, and until we sacrifice Homura, this man does not mean a goddamn thing. I know you want to be the aggro player. This is very big, like, hold me back, bro. Hold me back. And you like snarling and pretending you had rabies. We all knew that one kid in middle school, right? Who pretended that they were just like always about the action and would drool a lot and like hiss at you. This is the vibes I'm getting off of the Goblin Instigator card. Like, Loyal Apprentice falls kind of flat because we have, like, eventually it will be good. But it's the same thing of, it's a 2 mana card that doesn't do anything until we've spent 6 mana, which is crazy. Rapacious one, at least, is just like a good creature. I'm trying to ride the line between Little Bean and a very shootable strategy. I mean, I'm not saying you have to not Little Bean, but what I'm saying is our curve does not seem to accept what our game plan is. And our game plan is, holy fuck, how do I get 6 mana in colors that have never been able to hold down a job for more than a week? So if we want to do, like, let's just look at, if we accept, we're going to get a used Honda Civic. And that's how we're going to power this game plan. If we accept that into our heart, how does the world open up for us? Because we have Thrawn Dynamo. Yeah, you could do Gilded Lotus. You could... Oh, I'm about to blow your fucking mind, dog. I want to see Lotus Field. I want to see Lotus Field. You want to know why? Because I want to see you be able to use Surveyor's Scope. You want to be able to use Worn Power Stone. I'm not going to recommend Descent into Avernus because you cannot ride that lightning. Homura might be taller than Ragavan, but he's still like 4'8". He cannot ride that ride. I would not Treasonous Ogre. That's incredibly shootable. Incredibly shootable. So if we ramp a lot, then the world opens up for, we have a red commander, mana value greater than or equal to 5. What other big motherfuckers do we get to play? And we want big motherfuckers that hopefully convert into tokens. Tokens, additional creatures, whatever. Flying Atali sounds like something. But I understand that we want to play kooky guys. This is the Manic Pixie Dream deck. We're trying to hit people with cards that they've never seen before, and we're trying to hit them unreasonably hard. Let's look. Extra combats would of course help, but we've all seen extra combats. So this would be incredibly good card, right? Now this makes 5/3 dinosaurs. It makes us treasures. It gives us greater access to the top of our deck. This is one of the good engines we would like to play. Although I realize it is perhaps not slept on enough. Kazul's kind of there. I don't want us to shit out goblins because this is meant to be a fair The assignment I was given is weird synergy creatures, unsuspecting bombs. I think the moment we introduce Krenko to this environment, the deck becomes way better and loses all of its personality. It's like when you get too deep into heavy metal music when you're a teenager. Like we will completely replace all of the things that Exotic Show wants to have this deck do with, oh fuck, I hope I draw Krenko. So I'd like to avoid that as long as we can. Exactly. As Exotic Show is saying, adding Krenko, this would just be a bad Krenko deck if we put Krenko in. We might do something with artifact creatures, but I don't want to. Oh, but this should be your board-wide interaction. I can't help but notice that your board-wide interaction was a lot of really expensive board wipes that would also blow out everything you had worked so hard to do. Whereas Call Forth the Tempest, extremely expensive, only blows out your ops. DMC, I do not think this is going to be a dancing deck. You could consider Insurrection. You take everybody else's creatures, make them better. Ooh, threefold Thunder Hulk. Yes. This guy, he's a known quantity for being incredibly good in draft. Most people think if he's worth a goddamn in Commander, it's because you're doing an artifact combo. However, if you do Homura, and then you do this guy, we go pretty goddamn crazy. This is sick as fuck. What I'm also going to recommend, and this might seem weird at first, but what I'm going to recommend over some of these sacrifice outlets. Fuck me, dude. Things like Twin Flame. The reason I want you to consider this is because right now, the only thing the sacrifice outlet can do for you is turn your commander into your real commander. What Twin Flame can do to you is, if you have your commander, you can Twin Flame it, sacrifice the real one to the legend rule to flip it. But if you've already flipped your commander, all of a sudden, Twin Flame is copying Threefold Thunderhulk. Twin Flame is copying not Bonehorde Dracosaur because that's the value engine, but as we get to the other creatures that are going to be like the fun, big, punchy guys, Twin Flame is now double dipping in it will sack my commander for me, or it will copy the cool creatures I want to swing. And there's a ton of effects like this, but I would replace as many sacrifice things as you can with effects like that instead. The dragons, whatever. Where's my dumb shit at? Fuck goblins. You could definitely do something with Furlbog Flutist. Yeah, Slicer's definitely too evil. It's a different flavor than Krenko, but your deck does become a bad Krenko deck. So Furball Clutus, this is another theft piece, which I tend to really, really love. But it's going to give Myriad as well. Or other... This is a good, like, pseudo ramp piece. You either get to swing out at people or you get to draw some cards, make some treasures. We do not need Draco Genesis. Molten Primordial is fine, but I'd like more things that can convert into permanent creatures for us. I'm okay with a few theft effects, but I don't think we want to be all in on theft. I think we want to be mostly in on how do we give ourselves a permanent board state. Inferno of the Star Mounts is not what we need. Cybership could really do something. Ooh, boy. Because you crew this, you hit somebody, now you have 2 4/4s with flying. And then every time you tap them, and now one of the 2 2s you stole crews the Cybership for the next turn. I think the pinnacle of this is Tempt with Vengeance. The big problem with Tempt with Vengeance is going to be the literacy of others, because people are going to read this, look at what your commander does, and go, oh wow, this deal that was already a losing deal is now an extra losing deal because their elementals are 3 times as strong as my elementals and they fly. So Tempt with Vengeance is actually not an infinite combo, but it's a 2-card combo where if you cast your commander and you cast Tempt with Vengeance, that combos into everybody else choosing not to. It is a potentially good mana dump though, so this could be like second copy of Song of Totentance. You just have to understand that nobody is going to be like, oh hell yeah. Hit the mother load. I don't think we want to do this. I think the thing is our deck is already so... Our deck is already so greedy that once we start casting these big mana spells, they have to do something. We are giving up a ton of our agency in the early game to spend time ramping or spend time setting up our value engines. Once we get to the big mana stuff, it just has to be, this is a good card. Right? Good card. One-sided board wipe. Give me your good card. Good card. It cannot be, well, now that you've given me 30 minutes to talk my shit again, I'm going to show you all the depths of my extreme gambling problem. Hit the mother load. Dance with Calamity. These are silly garnish to a deck that is otherwise responsible, and this deck is deeply irresponsible. We have Tilinali's Summoners already. Oh yeah, Shadow Walker, I like that. This is another draft heater that may actually become relevant for you because of the board buff. So 9 mana, 3 6/6s with trample. So 9 mana, 18 damage. Yeah, like this deck sleeps in late, it doesn't know how to pay its taxes, its driver's license is expired, we cannot give it a gambling problem on top of what it already has. I just love Bahamut, so I always recommend him, but you don't have to play him. You might be able to do something with Calamity if you get enough other good hits. Because, like, Furlbog Flutist, non-legendary. Skitterbeam, but this is if you cast it. If we get enough other non-legendary hits, Calamity might be able to do something. Are there any Power Matters options you think would be great? No. Yeah, really no. Because this is a similar situation as to what the green players get into, where the green players will look at a way to buff mana and go, well, what if it was infinite? Because as soon as they get off their first hand, they're like, that's as many numbers as there are. And your deck is not great at creating infinite power, which is where a lot of the Power Matters stuff starts to be crazy. Infantry Shield is good enough that it's just dope. But a lot of what's really good for you is stuff that should have 1 power has 3. Stuff that should have 2 power has 4. And so like Threefold Thunderhulk getting to enter with 5 instead of entering with 3, meaningful difference that translates to a lot of advantage. We already suggested Bonehorde Dracosaur, but a lot of the other Power Matters stuff isn't going to feel very satisfying until you count to 10. Now what I will hear out is the Dragon Hawk Twa, because we should have a near critical mass of always playing things that hit 4 or greater. Not always, but a lot of our other good hits. Infantry Shield is in the deck already. Ooh. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Gogo, I do not have any strong opinions about Bill Fernie at this time. I've not really looked into him. Okay, so this, if we have flipped our commander, it's still 7 mana. It's a 9/6 that will make 6 3/3s that I guarantee nobody at your table has ever lost to before. That seems like where we want to live. How are you over $1? Come on, who's playing you? It must be like the pre-con upgraders for Eowyn are playing this person. I don't think we have Varchild. Yeah, Riders of the Mark will be like super good for you. Gold Warden's Gambit making 5 4/4s with flying is quite good, but 8 is pretty expensive when we're not going to have any equipment to make this better. I think Havoc Eater is quite a funny card. I don't think it has any business in this deck, but it is a very, very funny card. Are you sure about that? Gogo, are you sure that this card could fit in there? We don't currently have Kazul in here, and I'm inclined to not put them in. I don't think we want to be like... I don't think we need to be scared. We could Chitterlord. This will build up relatively quickly. I want to be able to force Mindclaw Shaman, but this deck isn't the home. Oh yeah. Yeah, different deck can force this little bastard. Well, the thing is, Vic, most of the deck is going to be pricey, and we just have to be playing a lot of ramp. Like the core goal of the deck is I am going to play and sacrifice a 6-mana commander. We are deep in bracket 2, and it is only by the grace of God that we are defeating the bracket 1 allegations. So if we look at how the deck currently plays, I'm not recruiting anything. I'm not recruiting anything right now. We get Phyrexian Altar. We haven't even played a red spell. I mean, Descent into Avernus does enough stuff. So I'll say by turn 4, we can play Homura, Phyrexian Altars here, and so we flip them. Which, if you haven't met Homura, now everything gets +2/+2 in flying. We have a shitload of treasure. We have a shitload of mana. And so what we want to get to is this point where we have survived the first 4 to 5 turns of the game. And now we can hopefully tap like 6 to 8 mana a turn to play one of these big funny creatures. Notable synergy with Imperial Recruiter, who admittedly will synergize with fucking everybody. 0 power card. Funnily enough, just happens to be a 0 power card that is hittable with Imperial Recruiter. We're not doing Devilish Valet, I don't think. I think that's too pie in the sky. We do not want Rite of the Raging Storm. Is the wrong vibe. But I think these are the adjustments you want to make. I like what you're doing. I think we commit a bit more to draw. I think you can change a lot of these sacrifice effects into copy effects, because that either becomes Pog as hell with Threefold Thunderhulk, or it sacrifices your commander for you. Fuck these shitty little goblin tokens. We get the Honda Civic engine, we get Count on Luck, we get Wild Wasteland, we hit our land drops. You play Lotus Field, you play... There's a bounce land for this. I know there is. You could even play Arid fucking Archway. That's the type of shit we're on. We need to be hitting these land drops, Brother Bear, and every bounce land says, I get my next land drop. Alright, so Arid Archway, Dormant Volcano, Guildless Commons. I want to see them in there. Okay? I want to see them in there yesterday. And then I want to see that impulse draw. And then after that, I think you're mostly good. This is going to be a like stupid, silly deck, but you will get some good WWE moments often here. You could even... Ooh, I like the call for Zeldinch. Because what this will... Just hear me out. This will give you like an early guy to play. If you hit any of your exile engines, you can double play land drops from exile to prevent them being lost forever. And it might allow you to like get up to 6 mana 1 turn earlier and then play Homura, and then you go down to 5 mana at the end of the turn, but who cares? The commander's out. Job done. So I like this guy as an engine as well. And then we just do, and then like you count to 6, we flip Homura, and then you're just laying down Cybership, Riders of the Mark, Ogre Chitterlord, Threefold Thunderhulk, all of these dog-ass creatures. Skitterbeam Battalion. Hell yeah. And then you have a great time. So I like this gimmick. I think you are just lacking the tools to make it work. Please review all of these. Put these in post haste. I wish you the best. We're going to answer any personal questions that I missed, and then we're going to look for a raid target. Felix, what the fuck are we talking about Life from the Loam? We're in mono red right now. They must be watching the replay. Never mind. Also, Face Eater, Snow Dave, Plasma, Bofidis, Frio, Arcom, and Shadow Knight. Thank you all for the Twitch follows. Welcome to the doghouse, my friends. We have a personal question from the first Fade King. What is your least favorite archetype at high power? I think it's Turbo. If I was going to be completely accurate, I think it's Turbo because Turbo is a mulligan check rather than an actual archetype. Turbo is just the other three players have to look at each other and go, okay, we're getting to a counterspell, right? We're all going to be adults, right? Exotic Show, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Welcome back to Dog Heaven, my friend. I appreciate that generosity, and I hope you enjoyed your roast. Now, that said, in high power, I don't really mind anything, because the point of high power is that we are doing fuckery. And so all of my, because I know that I'm complainy guy, I'm the rant man, I make fun of everybody. I make fun of everything because I love everything. In high power, it's like, anything goes. I think the only thing that would annoy me in high power is if you used high power to achieve a game lock but did not have a win condition. But even then, I'm just scooping. My friend only makes Rogue Rack plus another partner deck. Should I kick him from the pod? No, Roger's fine, bro. Roger's fine. Exotic Show, what's been the biggest brainworm on your mind recently? I can't answer that. Can you elaborate on brainworm, or just mean like the thing I've been thinking about most? And while you think about that, Whitebread's asking, rant about your plans for MagicCon Atlanta. What are you excited for? If you're going to play lots of games, etc., etc. I think I remember you saying you're going to go. I am very excited for MagicCon Atlanta. Some things I'm looking forward to. I'm going to get to meet like Elk and Trinket Mage in person for the first time. I know there's been a lot of other creators like Zach the Bold and some other D&D people who have been getting more into Magic that have been coming, that went to MagicCon Vegas, and I didn't get to meet them then, and I'm looking forward to potentially meeting them as well. I'm definitely going to play games. I will say, the more cons I go to, the higher and higher power I make my decks to play with new people. Because a genuine struggle in lower power con Magic is because we're trying to get to the game, we can't have like crazy exhaustive rule zero conversations. And getting stuck in pre-con jail on the con floor is terrible. Just truly awful. If you are in a game that goes for like 2 to 3 hours, but not because it's back and forth, because you just don't have the tools to end the game. And so I will be playing not as many games as I like physically can at Atlanta. I will be trying to play a lot of games at Atlanta, and I'm probably going to be trying to play mostly bracket 3, because bracket 2 games and bracket 1 games, those are like, okay, you have now spent your entire day playing this singular commander game. Your brain is completely melted, and it ended via concession. Lightspeed Sloth, no, I will not be doing that. IMO, brainworm means something that has been on your mind that you have a hard time stopping thinking about. I think not to be too meta, but the brainworm that I have been thinking about the most recently is figuring out the balance between coming up with the gimmicks that I really, really like and just getting out content quickly. It is an inescapable truth that if you just kind of spam post, you will find some degree of success. It's not totally inescapable because I unfortunately have some friends who have like truly proven that volume posting does not work. Peace be with them. But the reason it's meta is because people want you to be genuine. And if you are spending like 2 hours G'ing yourself up to do a video, it's harder to be genuine. You get in your own head. We're not trained actors. Many of us who do like skits on TikTok or talk on TikTok, we're terrible at acting. We pretend to do a little of it for the videos, but we're really, really bad at it. And so a lot of times what will happen is, I actually have a lot of thoughts on this, so I apologize in advance, but if you have a lot of ideas in your head for what type of video you can make, your idea typically doesn't matter at all. Ideas are bullshit. Execution is typically what's going to sell a video, and if you're new to content particularly, you just need to practice executing over and over and over. And this goes for any skill set. This is not social media specific. You just have to practice doing the thing to get better at the thing. You don't need to practice thinking about the thing. And so people volume posting will typically end up working because when you volume post, you will be forced to look at the content you are making. You will hopefully reflect on, what do I think was good about that video? What do I think was bad about that video? And you will get less caught up in, is this video's idea good? Some of the most viral videos ever, and I don't even want to appeal to the most successful videos ever, but loads and loads of successful videos have ideas that are just like, and I think a really good example is actually Zach the Bold or Tabletop Jocks for their skits. But if you look at like, what is the premise of this video? The premise is like a total Simpsons did it thing. And what makes Zach's videos really, really good is the incredible, incredible execution that he has. And that's kind of what I'm thinking of when I think about how people like overrate novelty. Is like there's very little stuff that is successful right now that is succeeding because of its originality. There's a ton of stuff that is succeeding because it is executing old hat stuff in a way that feels new or feels very engaging, and the newness doesn't matter. To derail me from my PhD thesis on how social media works, we have a question from Dr. Ryan. Hey man, you believe in ghosts? No, I do not. I would go a step further than saying I don't believe in ghosts and say I actively disbelieve in ghosts. I need to find it, but I remember a thing that like cemented in my brain as, oh yeah, this shit ain't real, is about like there are frequencies of sound you can play that the human brain cannot consciously perceive that will induce paranoia and can eventually induce hallucinations. And so a lot of places that are really popular ghost hunting sites are places where some part of the architecture or some nearby machinery is emitting these types of sounds and making everybody freak the fuck out. But no, I do not believe in ghosts. Follow-up, do you believe in goats? Yes, and they're sent from the devil. In the vein of questions asked while slightly tipsy and or staring into the night sky around a campfire, what do you think happens when we die? I think it stops. I'm not gonna... Yeah, like I think if there's some greater power, it does not exist in the same context that any major religion has come up with it. And I think when we die, it just all stops for that individual person. And then Lagtap, I'm going to hit you with the roast command. The deck submissions start at $69. You can get in for free during a free roast stream at the beginning of every month. Oh, right, but the birds mauled. Hellcat, no, birds are not real. If you've seen a bird, what you've seen is a cleverly designed government drone. Sounds like you encounter ghosts on a daily basis and say, nuh-uh, not real, and walk through them like a Chad. That's exactly what happens. Cloverse, if you are tired of playing precons, I would recommend upgrading a precon. If you are beyond that and you've upgraded a precon and you still are not quite sure what you want to do, then you can try to build your own deck. But I would recommend taking the path of, I've played precons to now I'm going to upgrade precons, then I'm going to try to build my own deck. But that's where I would start. Where do you think the precon deck is deficient? And trade out those pieces for things that are better. Morning, fellas. What a line to walk into. Hey, boss, do you think the new rules about vehicles and spacecraft will affect CEDH at all? Also, what is your favorite CEDH deck? Don't clip that, because it could age poorly. Like, if they print a cracked spaceship in Edge of Eternities, maybe that could impact CEDH. Because there's plenty of, like, non-creature permanents that are really good. So if they... Let's just say in Edge of Eternities, they do something crazy, and they're like, we have to move this set. We are going to reprint Rhystic Studies effect on a spacecraft that can be in your command zone. That probably impacts CEDH. I do not believe any of the presently available legendary vehicles that will be able to go in your command zone are going to matter for CEDH, but that is not stopping them from printing something in the new card type, the new artifact type that can do it. In fact, I think they probably will do something like that. Obviously not as ham-handed as Rhystic Study itself, but in order to make Edge of Eternities sell well, there's probably going to be some type of crazy artifact value engine in the command zone. Yeah, like we'll get another Shorakai. Is the legendary vehicles becoming legal commanders one step closer to legendary permanents becoming legal commanders? It's one step closer. However, you do have to mind the 10 feet of solid steel in between vehicles and just any legendary permanent. A really important thing about vehicles is that they are at least in part balanced around being a creature. Can become a creature if we crew. The spacecraft can become a creature if you tap things. Like, these are effects that they are at least like looking out for, versus enchantments, planeswalkers, instants, sorceries, non-creature artifacts. A lot of these effects fucking suck. A lot of these effects would fucking suck to build around, and there is an extreme difference between... Because really saying, okay, legendary vehicles can be your commander from now on, changes nothing. It changes nothing about the landscape of current commander. If you said, planeswalkers can be your commander now, that changes a shitload. Because there are like tens, if not hundreds, of currently viable planeswalkers that are held back because of this rule. The Edge of Eternities change is really only affecting what they design going forward, in what they were designing with this rules change already in mind. If you do it for planeswalkers, now we have a ton of like backfilled changes that we have to account for, of like really strong interactions that were designed specifically about not being in the command zone. We've seen some planeswalkers as commanders, and those are specifically designed to be in the command zone. But it's extremely different for, okay, we're going to let this card type be a commander because we're going to design stuff moving forward for it. And we're going to let this card type be a commander where you have triple digit options for it. Yeah, like what's really funny is my ultimate defense for why we should not allow planeswalkers to be commanders is the same piece of evidence a lot of its proponents will argue as the reason you should allow them, which is that Brawl allows them. If you want to live in a world that has planeswalkers as a commander, go play Arena Brawl. Play that for 2 days and come back and tell me you still want to live in that world. And if you do, I will 5150 you. Because playing Arena Brawl is 100%, not 100%. Playing Arena Brawl is 90% of the reason I am so staunchly against planeswalkers being in the command zone, because I have seen what you people do when you are given access to it. And it is awful. Yeah, Cyborg's probably in fucking shambles about the change, Zoria, because they love Mech Titan Core. Like, it's not even a... I think the fact that they wouldn't be very good is the problem, Danny G. I don't think planeswalkers are oppressively busted. I think planeswalkers are oppressively annoying. Like, it is... They are incredibly, incredibly shitty to play against, and that's why I don't want them let out. I don't think they're going to impact DEDH quickly, if at all. I doubt they even impact high power that much. In Commander, they just die, though. Terrence, I'm going to give you 1 moment to take that back. I'm going to give you a brief moment to not attempt to stand on dies to removal. Because that's that's not how we judge things. We judge things on how bad is it if they do resolve. How bad is it if they do stick around. Continuing on, what planeswalker would you least like to see in a command zone in your pod should they all become legal commanders? Fucking everybody would play this man, and it would be the stupidest deck ever. It would be board wipes, pillow fort, and card draw. Its win rate, who fucking cares? It would be the, like, slowest, most annoying, most lame deck imaginable, and there would be like 10,000 of them on every street corner. Like, you could pave roads with the number of Teferi decks that would be made. Planeswalkers are too holy to be in the zone. The zone is for dirty creatures. That's a very interesting take on it. Nuclear hot take from Vindictus. Planeswalkers are allowed in the command zone if you have social skills to rule zero them in. See, I actually agree with that. I don't think that's hot. I just think the requisite social skills are so difficult because it is a bullshit bad idea. Yeah, you can play Planeswalkers as your commander already if you can convince anybody it's fucking reasonable, which you can't. Like, if you want to play, you want to play this guy as your commander? Maybe you can sell me on it. You want to play Teferi as your commander? Fucking Henry Cavill couldn't sell me on that shit. See, Rajan, I'm in your head. I'm in your fucking head. There's also a thing to, another thing to consider. The element of dies to removal that is worth considering is how broad is the suite of removal that is relevant to them. If a thing can only be removed by a very, very narrow subset of cards versus most cards in the game can remove it, there's a meaningful difference there. And Planeswalkers kind of occupy a weird spot where they can get attacked down very easily, but almost none of the removal people are running in Commander can hit them. And so I think that is another difficulty where it makes them really bad in more powerful pods. And it makes them take over low power games in devastatingly uninteresting ways. Because they won't get attacked down, and if they are any better than Domri, Anarch of Bolas, if it's Teferi, this just ruins your fucking life. But in like bracket 3, whatever, yeah, people have threat assessment, they attack you down. Clara, I have mentioned that in previous Planeswalker rants. I hate Planeswalkers in the 1v1. Planeswalkers in a 1v1 are either truly unplayable or feel game breaking, even if they aren't. Nathan, no to both things. Save yourself, buddy. Also, Lunar787, thank you for the Prime sub for the 3rd month in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. I think we are going to call it there and end for the day. We may be live tomorrow. I'm not sure, but we're going to raid out, go say hi to Beeps. We will definitely be live again Wednesday doing more deck roasting, and so we may be live tomorrow doing Variety or Total Drama Tuesday content. I'll let you all know when I do. So we're going to go hit up Beeps on Act 3 of their first Claire Obscure playthrough. Please hit them. Oh, Dale, yes. Next stream you show up in, we will talk about the Ishin deck for the first Vamp section. I'm sorry about that. I appreciate your patience, brother. Hit them with the Indestructible Justin rant, accessible via !Voltron. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to the roasties. I hope you all enjoyed. And please remember to stay toxic. I appreciate everybody's support, whether it is financial, followable, or just your eyes. Have a good day, everybody. TikTok and YouTube, that's just going to be it for us, but thank you for playing.